Good evening and welcome to the live SGA Executive Candidate Forum pre-show. I'm Catherine McBee. The forum that's getting started soon is a collaboration between the Student Government Association and the Hub at TTU. This debate is a chance for the candidates for each campaign's executive board to get in front of the voters and campaign their platforms one last time before the polls open tomorrow. The Student Government Association is the representative of the student body that works to serve students' interests in the Texas Tech and Lubbock community. Today's preview of the forum that begins later tonight is a close-up look at the candidates who are running for president. The first candidate, Tyler Freevert, is running for president on the Experience Where It Counts forum. Here's a video of what he feels he can contribute to Texas Tech if elected into SGA.
My name is Tyler Freevert, and I'm a junior finance major here at Texas Tech University. And I'm just your average student, just like everyone else. You know, I want to be your voice. That's all SGA is. It's to be able to get the student's voice heard, and that's exactly what I'm going to do to be able to speak their voice to administration. I absolutely love this university, and I've been a big part of this university, and I've had the unique opportunity to be able to work side by side with Dr. Nellis in the president's office, and I've seen some of the great things he's already accomplished. And I want to be able to take that experience and really benefit and help this university to reach new levels of excellence. Some of the goals that this university has is, of course, to reach Tier 1 status. And there's a lot of ways to do that, and there's a big step and process in order to reach those goals. We're trying to reach 40,000 students by 2020, and I believe with my unique experience in President Select, I've been an ambassador for this university. I've traveled to different cities with the president of this university to represent this university as a whole. So I have a lot of experience in recruiting students to Texas Tech University and to be a positive light for this university. So potentially donors would want to donate more money to this university so we could build new buildings, fund new projects, really the research programs here, the list goes on. I think some of the problems is when you get students who come out here, they're looking for certain criteria that are as competitive to other universities in Texas or Oklahoma for that matter. And one of those things is to be able to bring your Raider Bucks off campus and into the Lubbock community. I want to be able to take a portion of your Raider Bucks off campus to some of your favorite restaurants. And I've been proactively working with administration, such as the CFO, to try to see what kind of hurdles we might need to overcome to do this. And as a finance major, I realize this is a numbers game, and it's very important that we don't sacrifice anything, we don't hurt hospitality services, and we don't do anything negative for this university as a whole. Students want to see a big change here and a competitive edge. That's exactly what I'm planning on doing, is to improve this university as a whole. I'm not doing this for a resume builder. I'm doing this because I really love this university and I want to make a difference here. I basically want to hope to get out of college, get my dream job, and then come back one day as a Board of Regent member to be able to continue to help this university. This school has given me more opportunities than any place I ever could imagine, and I believe it's my duty to be able to give back with the experience that I've gained here back to Texas Tech to be able to benefit it for future years to come.
Gustavo Chavera is the presidential candidate running for the Connect Tech campaign, and he says his team can provide a diverse voice for Tech's student body. Here is more on what he hopes his campaign can establish if elected into SGA.
My name is Gustavo Chavera. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I'm a senior here at Texas Tech studying international business and Spanish. I came to Texas Tech because I wanted to further my education. I am a first-generation college student, so I value that a lot. I am very blessed to be here at Texas Tech. But I'm here running for student body president because I want to empower you. I want to empower the students here at Texas Tech to succeed, to be their best. I started here when I was a freshman. I saw SGA come through organizations, come in, come out in suits. I never thought I could be one of those people. I decided to run for SGA, for student senator here at Texas Tech. I was fortunate enough to become a senator, and I started seeing all the process of legislation through Texas Tech Senate. I saw a procedure, I saw the movement, I saw the power that SGA has, the influence on administration. I worked alongside Jameson, because he's a current senator with me, and we got together, we started talking about how we could improve not just our college, because we're both in arts and sciences, but how can we improve Texas Tech, how can we improve the Senate. Florencio is a good friend of mine that I met through my organization, the Hispanic Student Society. He gave me the tools. He's sort of a mentor for me. He's an inspiration because he's been here for 10 years. He's gone through the barriers. He's gone through undergrad, master's, and now on his PhD. I talked to him. I sought his advice, he's a perfect candidate. I want to put together a team that fits everybody here at Texas Tech. We're all unique, but we're all together here at Texas Tech. Ashley is the first girl to run, young lady to run as a vice president candidate for the external position, but she's firm. She's smart, eloquent. I love being Hispanic. I love my roots. I like my history, my family. I saw that Texas Tech has never had a Hispanic president. I know Texas Tech is moving forward. They want to reach Tier 1. They want to reach that splendor. They want to be attracting to international students, to all types. I think by me being the first Hispanic president, it's a big move. It's a big accomplishment, but I'm also bringing the experience. I'm also qualified, and I have a great dream for how to move Texas Tech forward. In the future, I want to work helping those individuals, just like my background, probably go back to El Paso, work there, but do more outreach to the community. I work currently with students in East Lubbock, mentoring them and promoting college readiness. They need help. I was one of them when I was younger. I think it's a big privilege to be working with with those students. They're in middle school. They want to be doctors, lawyers. They want to go to college. They want to advance. It wasn't until my junior year that I learned who the student body president of Texas Tech was. And that was because I was involved in student government because I wanted to change and help my organization. I don't want to be the poster person, but I want to be that person they can ask questions, that they can go for advice. I want to connect them to the departments, funding. If they have questions with their major, I want to help them out. I honestly ran to be student body president because I want to make a change. Not a change, but I want to empower people. I want to empower them to have a choice. I want to empower them to have the knowledge. I want to empower them to lead. I want to empower them. I want to open the doors for them to be able to sit here one day, be like me, be sitting here, lead people, be that person they want to be when they grow up.
Cue.
Also running for president is Hayden Hatch on the One Tech campaign. He says he has high hopes for Texas Tech and what his campaign team has to offer. Here is more on what Hatch had to say.
My name is Hayden Hatch. I am from Lubbock, Texas. I'm a political science major, and I am running for student body president. I think it's very important that students know what SGA is. And I think part of the problem with the disconnect is that lots of times students only hear about SGA during election season. And that's one brief couple weeks, this year a month, luckily, out of the year. If I could explain SGA very briefly, it would be we are the student's voice. I think that is our most important role. And I would like to see a student government that answers to specific needs of the students. That way their needs are being met already. And we've seen several issues on campus this year that I really hope to fix through student government. If I were to be elected, I would have some contact with some powerful people and some great people to learn after here at Tech. And I think that would be great because going into a law firm, you're the scum of the earth there for a couple of years. So it would teach me how to lead and teach me how to follow as well. I love lots of things about Tech. I think one thing is that we are truly unique. We're different from other Big 12 universities, other Texas universities, and I think that's what makes us special. Well, Tech is facing a challenge because we're trying to grow right now, and that's a hard thing to do. So I have a lot of respect for our recruiting organizations here at Tech. I would like for student government to help recruit students. I spoke with Chancellor Hance the other day and I said, could you give me one idea for student government, something we could do differently? And he said, you could help recruit students. I think it's a great idea. I know we have President Select and other organizations that do that, but student government is truly a service organization and I would love to see us help recruit Tech to reach its goals. In political science, we take a lot of written tests. But to calm myself down, you know, what you got to do is prepare as much as you can. You're always going to be nervous walking into that test, but I always feel that if I know I've studied my hardest, then win or lose, there's nothing else I could do about it. Personal qualities, I love being genuine with people. I think that there are lots of stereotypes out there that aren't true at all. And I think that if I could take this position and treat everybody equally, I could be a very effective president. I love serving people. I love helping them out any way I can. And that's really, truly why I wanted to run for this position, because I see this as the greatest opportunity to do that. I plan to be a lawyer, and I plan to practice in Lubbock because I love Lubbock. And I know lots of my buddies are getting out of here as soon as they can. But I love the connection that the Lubbock community has with this university. I would like to create a student government that is much more service-oriented towards the local community. And we've got some great ideas to do that. I really want student government to be service-oriented. And this year we've seen several issues with busing on campus and some academic calendar issues that my platform directly answers to. I think one way to help the disconnect through student body and SGA is to answer to their needs. Do not have your own agenda. We do not have our own agenda walking into this. There are major issues with transportation on this campus this year. My campaign would like to solve that. We'd like to work every single day over the summer to make sure that when students get back, they have some of their old bus routes back. The academic calendar, I want to make sure that we have the same spring break as other Big 12 schools and other Texas universities. That was huge this year. These are specific things that I think affect the entire student body, not just one group. And that's what we want to answer to.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have more on the candidate forum here in just a little bit.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Well, that's all the time we have for today before the forum begins. For more information on the rest of the candidates, you can go to the Hub website to look at the internal, external vice presidents as well as the graduate vice president candidates. Make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Right now, we're going to go to Luke Cotton, the SGA president. Sorry, did I look off right before that, though?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Good evening, everyone. welcome. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Just to preface a little bit, I do apologize for having this scheduled at the same time as a big basketball game. This just shows your dedication to student government and service of the students, so I really do appreciate that. My name is Luke Cotton. I'm the student body president here at Texas Tech University, and I also will serve as your proctor for the evening as well. It'll for surely be an excellent evening, to say the least. So with that being said, let's do a brief introduction of our panelists for the evening. From KTXT Radio, we have Miss Ann Capusto, excuse me. Please hold your applause till the end of the introduction of the panelists. Sorry about that. From the Daily TOREADOR, we have Miss CARSON Wilson. From the Election Commission, the chairwoman, Vivian Cervantez. And from the TTU Hub, Miss Keene. Please give them a round of applause for serving on the panel. Also serving on the panel in a different capacity tonight, we have our vice presidents from SGA. We have Daniel Yates, our graduate vice president, Mr. Peyton Craig, our external vice president, and Ms. Jill Berger, our internal vice president as well, which they'll be asking questions pertaining to their particular area. So with that being said, I'm very excited that we have 3 teams running this year. It really warms my heart to see that 3 groups, 3 functioning groups, 3 qualified candidates are running for this office. It really means that, you know, y'all care about this university and y'all care about the students, and I truly appreciate you guys. It's been an excellent election so far. No filings yet, so that's always good. And I look forward to a lovely evening of debating. Thank you very much to the Hub for live streaming this and helping put together this lovely backdrop logo combination. It's been a pleasure working with them and collaborating this year and taking this debate to new levels of excellence. And this is a much larger crowd than we've had in recent years as well, all with the basketball game going on, so that's something else. It's normally been on Mondays as well, just for everybody else. But anywho's, I remember last year when this debate was going on, I had a terrible, terrible cold and could not even voice myself. No one could even understand what I was saying, and there was a terrible, snowstorm the day before in which school was canceled. It was miserable outside, and it wasn't pleasant for the most part, but I do enjoy seeing debating and whatnot. Anyways. Does anyone have a cold this year? Do any of our candidates have a cold? Do y'all have any kind of hoarse voices or anything to that effect? Okay, Stetson. Let it be known that Stetson has a cold, everyone. But with that being said, can I please have our internal vice president candidates come to the podiums with Mr. Jameson Tomlin to the far right. Please hold your applause till after the candidates are down here. I'm also going to do a brief bio on them as well, so hopefully I don't butcher that as well. So for the middle podium, Mr. Taylor Shackelford, and to the far left, Ms. BALEIGH WALDROP. Brief introduction of each. Jameson Tomlin is running for the internal vice president position on the Connect Tech team. He believes in diversity, servant leadership, and promoting community engagement on the Texas Tech campus. And if elected, he would like to advocate to reform the SGA budget process for student organizations, to never increase a student fee, healthier dining options and safety on campus, diversity by connecting students together because we are all Red Raiders, opportunities for students to serve Texas Tech and the Lubbock community, and he wants to open doors for all students in order to give every student a voice. If elected, he will serve Texas Tech and vow to advocate real student issues and to make real change. He has served in SGA and learned the skills necessary to continue moving forward and to move Texas Tech to greater heights. Please hold your round of applause until the bios are over. I'll try and get through these. Ms. BALEIGH WALDROP is a junior accounting major from Hobbs, New Mexico. and she is seeking the position of internal vice president as well. Bailey served her freshman year as an intern to the student body president in Freshman Leadership Association, her sophomore year on the election commission, and is currently an honors college center. Bailey chairs the Honors College Intergovernmental Relations and Sportsmanship and Traditions Committee. She was named Center of the Month in October and was more recently named one of the 3 outstanding senators of the year. Bailey is passionate about student government and wants to continue to ensure SGA is an effective voice to the entire student body. Let's go ahead and give him a round of applause. Well, no, y'all get my point. Taylor is a sophomore double majoring in agriculture, communications, and international business. Taylor has been very active within the campus community. He is a member of Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity, treasurer of President-elect, prior member of the Texas Tech Wool Judging National Championship team, Alpha Lambda Delta Phi Eta National Honor Society, and a past Texas Future Farmers of America State Officer for the 2011 and 2012 academic year. Taylor serves as the current College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources Senator, where he is the chairman due to Taylor's involvement in SGA this year with Kasner and the Academics Committee and the Budget and Finance Committee. He was named this past month Senator of the Month. His commitment to student government and parliamentary procedure explains just why he has the experience where it counts, and with a hashtag before that. So let's give him a round of applause. Excellent. A brief explanation on how this is going to work. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question asked of them. We ask that you please try and keep it below 2 minutes or right at 2 minutes as well. We're going to start with the far right candidate, and then the next person to the left will answer the question, then the next person to the left will answer the question. Then the second question that you're asked will start with Taylor, our middle podium, then to the left with Bailey, and then finishing with Jameson, and then continuing on in that cycle until we're out of questions. Do the candidates understand?
Sounds fair.
Excellent. Yep. So with that being said, Miss Election Commission Chair, Vivian.
Thank you, Liz. Good evening, candidates. As internal vice president, what would you do to promote senator interaction with the students they were elected to represent?
Thank you, Vivian. I think that is a wonderful question. And I'd like to expand on the whole entire Connect Tech platform. One of the biggest things we've promoted is student organizations throughout our whole entire campaign. Right now, currently about roughly 200 organizations apply for student government funding. There are roughly around 500. That is an awful number. And one of the biggest things I think we need to expand on is our mobile offices. Forgive me. And with that, taking the mobile offices, me and Gustavo have already spearheaded the idea of maybe implementing games and also incentives for people to come. This next week, actually, Arts and Sciences, the committee that Gustavo chairs and that I am a part of, is holding one of the biggest mobile offices ever done. And I want to continue that as president of the Senate to continue to empower our senators to connect with people and connect with organizations, promote organizations, because that really is the backbone of this university.
Alrighty. So I guess my ideas stem more towards redirecting the Director of Outreach's opinions. So we've tried in the past, holding senators accountable to visit organizations on their own. And fact of the matter is, the senators were all really involved across the campus. So a lot of times senators don't meet every single organization that's in their college. How I plan to do that a little bit better next year is through our SGA Ambassador Program. It's new this year and currently I think being underutilized. So the Director of Outreach would be in charge of the SGA Ambassadors next year under my idea, and then they would obviously be in charge of meeting monthly requirements of visiting student organizations, considering currently, unless Student Government Association has some initiative going on campus, they're virtually being unused. So SGA ambassadors would obviously be a big role, and then also first-year programs. I know that we have a lot of freshman senators or potential senators on our campaign block this year, and I can remember running last year as a freshman for Student Government Association and just know how much passion freshmen have and how willing they are to go out into the community and into campus and meet new faces and get involved in Student Government Association. And so by giving them a little bit more respect and a little bit more direction, I think that we can see out way more student organizations than we have in the past. So that's my answer.
Okay, well, I actually want to start a program called Mix at 6. And basically what that would be is a mixer between student organizations and senators right before Senate starts. And so basically we'd just be able to, senators would be able to mix with student organizations. We'd invite student organizations to come to our Senate meetings, and we just talk to them a little bit before we go into our Senate meetings. I think this is a great way for senators to see first, or for student organizations to see firsthand what Senate is. And then we can invite them to come speak at our open forum and actually utilize some things that we already have. So that's the main way that I want to do it, is the Mix at 6 program.
Okay. My question to you is, how do you plan to increase engagement and participation in SGA among students?
Absolutely. So I guess first off, I think that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And there's no sense in reinventing the wheel coming right off the bat into office. This session, I think, has done a great job of engaging far more students than we ever have in the past. And through our mobile offices, we've been able to do that. So firstly, mobile offices will definitely still be a go during my term in office, should I be elected. Now, after that, through the organizations that I mentioned earlier, such as ambassadors, such as first-year programs, we'd obviously be meeting more students that way as well. But some of our best legislation has come from mobile offices, and just by making sure that our senators are going out and encouraging, suggestions in the box and things like that, as well as making sure that students around campus know that, they're available to come to Senate meetings and things like that, it would help out a lot. Now, also, we have plans in the books for things such as, pretzels with the president, things that have been used in this session, but new ideas along those same lines of just more initiatives to get out in the community and to get out around campus at Texas Tech and see more faces, and ultimately just bring more recognition to Student Government Association. Because the thing is, every student that I've talked to during my mobile offices has told me, Student Government Association sounds really cool, I just have no idea what it does or how to get involved. And so just by making sure that we're an open door in mobile offices, I think that we'll be able to grow student interaction with student government.
Yeah, so I actually think that that's great. I agree with a lot of what he said. But I think a lot of it is just empowering senators to do their job well. I was an honors college senator this year, and one of my goals was to go in and really tap that honors college voice that isn't being heard. And so instead of creating a lot more events in the honors college or doing more things, I just looked around where I already was and talked to students in my classes and said, hey, I'm an SGA, what are some things that you'd like to see changed? And I actually got to work on some really exciting things from things that students were actually telling me. And so I think that that's the main thing, is just really empowering senators, like, hey, use the events we have, but you're an everyday student, you're in classes, like, actually talk to the students around you in a normal setting and see what they want changed.
Thank you. I would have to completely disagree with Senator Shackelford on his point to make that it is broken. Like I've already pointed out, that less than half of our student organizations applied for our student government funding. And to say that our organization is doing its job completely is not true. The reality of the situation is that our budget process needs to be reformed. The reality of the situation is, how do we get people involved, is to go to them. I don't want to say come to us, because we need to go to them. I want to empower senators to go to them, and how I would do that is, I can't tell the Senate what they should do, but I can make recommendations as the President of the Senate. And I will make the recommendation to assign 5 organizations to each senator, 5 separate organizations for each person to go directly to an organization, speak to them one-on-one, tell them what we do, and make sure they apply for the funding. Because the reality of the situation is, there are organizations out there hurting, and they need help. And we are a student government association. We're supposed to help them, not say, hey, we're on a cloud, come to us. We're supposed to go to them.
Excellent. Ms. Keene?
In light of the Pippin versus Student Government Association case, you may face a time where the SGA rules conflict with the law. Which would you pursue, and what values would you uphold when faced with these circumstances?
I think that one of the biggest lessons we learned from the Pippin case is that we need to be prepared. We need to know exactly what we have ahead of us. We need to make sure that we're abiding by the Constitution and by our Senate rules. I think that's very important, and I think we learned a lot of lessons to be prepared next year. But I think, like always, I think our Constitution stands, and we need to make sure that senators know what our Constitution says. And I think that that was part of the problem whenever we had that case, is that senators didn't really know what the Constitution said about impeachment and how that worked with the rules. And so I think a lot of that is education on the senators' part, and just making sure that we're really prepared when we go into those meetings.
Thank you. As that case almost dealt solely with RNA and then onto the Senate, I would like to address a couple things. In the Supreme Court ruling, it Chief Justice Urias states that the Rules and Administration Committee handled that process completely correct, that we actually did our job to the utmost extent, and I want to make sure that everyone understands that I was the chairman of that committee, and under my leadership we handled everything correctly. And with that, when it moved to the Senate, there was some discrepancies in the rules on how removal and impeachment are defined and how they're utilized. And so with that, I'd like to point out that the Supreme Court ruling was a ruling to point out to point out an error in our rules, that our rules were actually not very clear on how removal actually works. We actually did move for impeachment, and after the impeachment vote was taken, we took a second vote for removal, which in our rules was never specifically stated that the removal process has to happen at the second meeting. And so thankfully we've had that Supreme Court case. And to answer your question directly, that case prepared me to show that I would not be a very good trial lawyer. And also, because I did not like that case. I did not like having to be the person to ask someone to leave or write an impeachment resolution for someone that I respected. And with that, I'd like to state that that show prepared me as a Rules Administration Chairman to go on to as the President of the Senate to know how to handle that situation, because the first person that finds out about that would be the President of the Senate, and then that information gets passed along to the RNA chair.
So I agree with BALEIGH over here, actually, that a lot of the times senators aren't exactly aware of everything that's in our Constitution. And so when it comes to, rules versus laws and things like that, I think that a lot of times as senators, we're just not really aware of what's going on. And so I actually have a plan currently to restructure the way that we do our Senate retreat. This would be a lot more intensive on the Constitution and on rules, as well as a lot more intensive on parliamentary procedure. I think a lot of the times we get caught up in our Senate meetings, and as far as handling rules and things like that, was strictly discrepancy over how to go about handling parliamentary law. So not necessarily, determining Supreme Court laws, but with parliamentary law in our Senate meetings is where we ran into most things. So I think that senator education at Senate retreat would have helped a lot with that case, as far as knowing, which boundaries we can cross and which boundaries we absolutely cannot. And so that's really my only solution to the issue, without going into, making jabs at who asked people to be removed from Senate.
Good evening, candidates. In a recent The Daily TOREADOR article, members of the Texas Tech LGBT community have expressed concerns that their rights are not included in the Student Code of Conduct. What are your thoughts on this, and what will you do to address the matter?
That's a wonderful question. And I'd like to first off state that my grandmother and my aunt are both homosexual. And as a Christian, I sometimes have had to face the question of what is right in that specific certain sense. And as my political beliefs define, I do not think that we as Americans can tell someone that you can't pursue your right of happiness. Now, as a Christian, do I believe that homosexuality is okay? I don't. But I respect them and I love them. And as my grandmother is homosexual, she is my role model. She came from rags to riches, and I aspire to be like her. And so to state that, how do we get those people's voices heard is go ahead and talk to them again. I want to hear what they're really talking about, what the real issues are facing. I ran cross country with 2 homosexual teammates, and being able to sit down and talk to them and them tell me that, you know what, I battled depression and I battled bad thoughts, and it was actually having a counseling center to go talk to that kept me alive. And I want to continue to make sure that those resources are available to them, and that those resources always stay available to people, because I never want to infringe upon somebody's right to pursue their happiness.
Could you repeat the question?
In a recent The Daily TOREADOR article, members of the Texas Tech LGBT community have expressed concerns that their rights are not included in the Student Code of Conduct. What are your thoughts on this, and what will you do to address the matter?
I think that's a great question. It's one that's actually, really causing a war in our nation currently. And so to address that, obviously I think that the biggest thing that we can do in Senate and, as leaders of the Senate would be to write legislation in support of these organizations and in support of their initiatives. We write legislation in support, of diversity issues and in support of, education issues and things like this. Why can we not be in support of individuality and of self-expression and things like that? So to write and support and to show that student government as a whole is behind the support of every student at Texas Tech, I think is the way to attack this head on. Thank you.
Well, I think that our job in student government is to make sure that everyone's voice is efficiently heard. You know, from every student on campus, the student government is them. We always call student government the Senate and the exec, but the student government is everyone on campus. And so I just think it's really important that we are listening to everyone and listening to their concerns and actually going out into those student organizations and making sure that we're diversifying the student organizations that we are representing and that we are reaching out to. So I think it's very important, and I think that we need to continue to make sure that we're an efficient voice of the students.
Excellent. Ms. Berger.
Good evening, Senators. My question is, one major problem I faced as internal VP is the retention rates of senators. Please tell me your ideas on how to improve the retention rate and keep senators involved.
Awesome. That's actually something that I've seen as a big issue as well. And how I plan to attack that is actually through Senate Retreat as well. So first off, some of our returning senators I feel like aren't necessarily stoked about being back in Senate and being back in drama and things like that. And so by giving a little bit more respect and direction to them, I think we can solve a lot of issues. I actually want to create a team leader program at our Senate Retreat where the returning senators will actually lead their teams throughout Senate Retreat because they've been there, they've done it. They can give insight as to, you know, what to expect coming into Senate. I think that's another issue is that people jump into Senate because SGA looks really good on a resume. But then once they enter into Senate and enter into our chambers and realize how long our meetings last, I think that most people are a little overwhelmed. And so by creating greater awareness right off the bat as to what to expect throughout the year and what is expected of a senator in SGA, I think that a lot of the retention rate can be solved. And so...
Okay, these are all such great ideas. I kind of have a different strategy on how I think we can increase retention, and I think that's making things more simple. I think it's not wasting senators' time on things that aren't as important, things like events and other things that are taking up important time. I think that this role we have as a student, being out in our classes every day, doing mobile office hours, and really just knowing that, hey, I'm in Senate and I'm representing the students is really important. And so I think it's just making sure that senators realize that, hey, you're the voice of the students. This is the only voice that they have on campus. And going forward and taking the events that they're already in, senators are so involved, that's why they're in Senate, and taking those opportunities to really listen to students' concerns and just filter it that way.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we've had lots of talks about how to fix this. With that, I am going to propose, if I am President of the Senate, to do away with office hours. And what I want to implement is strict mobile office hours, that senators are required 2 mobile office hours a week. And on top of that, meet with 5 organizations in a semester. And the reason I state that is because currently 1/3 to maybe 2/3 of the Senate could have qualified for impeachment based upon our office hour current policy. And it just, the restrictions upon senators are so great that sometimes people have to drop because they get 5, 6, 7 absences because sometimes the only time they can come into the office is at 5 o'clock on Friday. But the thing that sucks about that is the office closes at 5 o'clock on Friday. And so doing away with those required in-house office hours and making senators go out, like I've talked already, to go to the people, to go to our constituents and to our students directly rather than expecting them to come to us. The reality of the situation is people do not come up to the office. Most people don't know what's in that office or what can be given to them. And that's a problem. So how do we fix that? We go to them. And why I think that will alleviate the burden upon senators for leaving and dropping is because it takes off that burden of having to come into the office twice, 2, 3 times a week to spend hours up there. And not necessarily having a grace policy, but having a leniency policy that sometimes things happen. My grandma got really sick the last semester, and I had to miss some stuff. And that happens. And making sure that there's places on the rules that can say, okay, it's okay that grandma got sick. And making sure to work with senators and work with people in Senate and work with the people that are doing the work that they can stay in, and there's no more restriction on that. And I'd like to reiterate that because of my current position, I've done almost all the recruiting in student government. Almost 1/3 of the Senate is in Senate because of the recruiting that I've already done.
Excellent. At this time, we'd like to take a question from the gallery. A forum question. We'd really prefer if it wasn't a planted question as well. Just to be honest. No questions at this time? Well, thank you very much, candidates. With that, we'll have a 5-minute break and be right back at it.
you wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives.
A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hey everybody! Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet! Dang it. Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yay! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go ahead and call our candidates for the external vice president position down to the podiums. On the far right, could I get Miss Ashley Brannon? The middle podium, please hold your applause. Middle podium, Mr. Peter Brady. And to the far left, Mr. Stetson Whetstone. I'm going to go ahead and do a reading of the bios, and you can clap after each bio as well. It's a little awkward if you don't, honestly. So, her name is Ashley Brannon. She's a senior at Texas Tech and a proud Delta Gamma member. She's a political science and global studies major and legal and Spanish double minor with a pre-law track. She played polo for Texas Tech last year. She was a congressional intern on the Hill in D.C. last semester. Earlier this semester, she interviewed a congressman on C-SPAN about student loan reforms. She studied government in Prague over the 2013 summer at Charles University. She speaks Czech and Spanish, but she is not fluent just yet. She loves traveling and learning about other languages and learning about other cultures and about how our government interacts with our cultures. Her long-term goals are to graduate from law school and become a foreign service officer following the public diplomacy track and represent our country abroad. Let's give her a round of applause, please. External Vice President candidate Peter Brady is a determined, driven individual who has the necessary experience this university needs for success. For the past year, Peter served as the Chief of Staff for the 49th Administration and is well informed with the concerns of students. Peter is an executive board member of the Farmhouse Fraternity, President-elect, and a founder and former executive director of Wishmakers on Texas Tech's campus. Peter has served on over a dozen student fee committees, with Transportation Fee Committee also sitting on the Transportation Fee Committee. Peter has spent time establishing a working relationship with members of the local and state governments through his political volunteer work. Brady's experience within student government, the city of Lubbock, and his love for politics shows why he has #experience where it counts. Let's give him a round of applause. Stetson Whetstone is a junior RIM major from Austin, Texas. He has been involved with student government since his freshman year. He's currently the Sergeant at Arms for the Student Senate, co-chair of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, and is on the Rules and Administration Committee. Stetson is passionate about changing the university's bus routes to make them more efficient for the students and the university as a whole. He will expand the S-Bus to ensure the student safety at all hours on and off campus, lowering the taxes on textbooks to save the students as much money as possible, along with many other platform initiatives. His entire platform, along with his executive alliance, One Tech, Hatch, WALDROP, Whetstone, revolves around what the students want to see changed. He is driven to be the voice of his fellow students. Let's give him a round of applause, please. With that being said, please limit your answers to 2 minutes each. Feel free to ask for a repetition of the question you were just asked in case it's unclear. There's a water underneath each of your podiums if you get a little parched. And also, Mr. Peyton Craig will be letting you know once you start running short of time. So with that, once again, Ms. Vivian Cervantez, take it away.
Positional responsibilities for the external vice president involves implementing and overseeing programs of the Student Government Association. As vice president of external, what types of programs would you implement that would most impact students?
So I think what we could really benefit from is just students don't know what SGA is. I didn't know what SGA was for a long time, and we just need events where they can come and meet senators, talk to them, find out about it, even as simple as speaking in the free speech area, walking around campus. I've learned so much about our student body just talking to people walking around campus. So I think not focusing on, high key events as far as, show up in a suit and, hope that you hold your ground, but just walking around informally talking to people in a less intimidating way.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I really think student government can focus on in this 50th administration is connecting more with the city of Lubbock. A program I want to implement to do so will be called Tech the Town, where we can take a portion of our student body out into the Lubbock community and do some community service work. Not only is that going to show some great programming for our university, but it gets our students community service hours. Also, that's going to show the city of Lubbock that we're committed to a strong relationship with them, and we can build on that throughout the next couple of years to have a strong, forceful relationship.
All right, I have to agree with Ashley. With mine, the amount of people that I've talked to about the aspect where they go into Student Government Association and have never even heard about it, what the idea is, what they do, is honestly astounding to me. And everyone that I do talk about it, everyone I hear that's older, they wish they would have gone into their freshman year. So anything that we can get more students involved with SGA so we can represent the students as a whole and get everyone's opinion and voice, that's what I like to implement. I know that's mainly relies more on just voicing the SGA and what they need to do.
Anne?
My question to you is, what will you do to help Texas Tech stand out amongst other schools in the state legislature?
Well, that is a great question. Thank you. I think one of the things we really need to do is continue to build stronger relationships with our representatives in Austin. We have some great Texas Tech alumni, such as Robert Duncan, Harvey Hildebrandt. Actually, Tom Crack's the former Speaker of the Texas House. All these Texas Tech alumni can be strong relationships for us in Austin that can really help us advocate for Texas Tech's needs. My goal as external vice president with the state legislature is going to be every time our legislators cast a vote on higher education, they know exactly how that is going to affect the 33,000 students here at Texas Tech University. I think the other major step we need to make is we need to make sure that we're constantly communicating with the House Higher Education Committee, currently chaired by Dan Branch, so that we can communicate with them, make sure that when higher education issues are being discussed in the legislature, Texas Tech is always at the top of their mind.
I'd like to start with that, making having Texas Tech a more student-friendly campus in the aspect of pretty much lowering loan rates and interest rates and expanding on Stafford loans. I'll say with that, you have so many students come here with student loans and they can barely get by. So I would like to make Tech a more friendly campus for more students would bring here, which we'd have to go to the legislature to work on that. And with that, I'd also like to lobby next year to lowering the taxes on textbooks, because you spend upwards of a couple $100s in one semester, and you have to do that every single semester at Tech.
Okay, so basically, as I said in my bio, I had the opportunity to interview a representative from Utah. I'm not sure why I was a Utah representative, but about the student loan reform issue. And what we have is this growing balloon, if you will, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem. It's growing. And so I didn't have a lot of luck with talking with him. I think, he didn't realize that this is such a big issue for us, but maybe I'll have more luck at the state level asking them, what are we going to do about these things? How can we keep these prices lower for students so that we can have a better educated population in general? We are a very large university. We have a lot of students out here, and we are growing so fast. And that's one of the main things that we as Connect Tech strive for is let's keep growing this university, and let's keep fighting for the ways that we can go to Austin and talk to them, shake hands, talk to anyone we can get our hands on, and tell them that this is what we need. Because when people think of Texas, we want them to think of Texas Tech.
Ms. Wilson?
As the student population at Texas Tech continues to grow, bus routes are becoming congested. How are you planning to resolve the issue?
I'll say the way I want to resolve the issue, because I know by roughly 2025 we're going to be at 40,000. That's 7,000 more than we're at now. And with that, we are moving to, I know over the year they would like to eventually get rid of the buses on campus, but now that's not what I want to do. And with that, because I know student safety is a big deal. I think the numbers I have last year, it was roughly 8 collisions between buses and students, and this year we're at 1, and that is because of the way our busing system is. But the way it is, it's not as efficient for the students. And with that, when it's not as efficient, you have more students being late to class, and half the time you have students who can't even get on the buses because they're full as a whole. So eventually, I would just like to make Texas Tech transportation and the buses be for the students, since that's what we are for.
So this is a huge issue, as everyone is aware, for the external office. And those exact numbers are a lot of numbers that I have given to every group that we've spoken with, is that our buses were changed, yes, and it's a little bit less convenient, that's true. But it was done because of safety reasons. It's really not acceptable to be having a collision of 8 students with our buses. That doesn't look good on us as a university, and that's not safe for our students. And so far this year, as he said, we've had 1 incident, which is an awesome change in statistics. And what we would like to do is look into ways to make it more convenient for students, but also make that number 0, because that's not at all a number that I would like to see remain if I would be to take office, is that our buses are having incidents with our students. And I do have an idea of how to help that, because as he said, our buses are very crowded. And so, we have a giant idea to bring to tech, which would be a great recruiting tool. And it's a lot to bite off, but we can definitely handle it, to bring bikes to our university in a system of, swipe your Raider card, take that bike with you, drop it back off at the next one, you swipe it back in. And that would relieve some congestion on the buses, as well as the fees for gas and things like that are going up. So that's something that's going to affect us at some point. And I think that students should have the option to, relieve that system a little bit. Maybe we could make that a little bit more fiscally feasible for our school by implementing these things, because as well, as this gas issue that we will be facing soon, we also have the issue of simply getting from class on time, and the buses can't get everywhere. Thank you.
Well, this is an issue I'm very close to, and that's why I served on the Transportation Fee Committee this past year. The old bus routes had 3 main problems, actually. 1, they were financially unstable, running a deficit. 2, as they both pointed out, they were very unsafe. You also have to keep in mind those numbers are before the campus went free range, so you'd imagine with those old routes now we'd have even more collisions. Finally, those routes constrained our university's growth. Now, that being said, those routes were meeting the needs of our student body. My plan to address the bus route system is pretty simple. I want to take the financial stability, the increased safety, and the growth potential of these new routes, but incorporate a stronger system that's completely influenced by serving our students' needs. How I plan to do that is this summer, while setting the bus routes, I will make the process completely transparent. So any Texas Tech student can give their input on our bus routes, how that's going to affect their life and their classwork, so that we can make sure every student's voice is heard when creating a bus route system for this university.
Great question. Ms. Keene?
All right, mine kind of goes along with hers. With the thought of our campus having an upsurge in students, for years students have, current permit holders have complaints regarding the lack of space in commuter parking lots. Furthermore, some students say the location of existing parking lots are inconvenient. What ideas do you have to alleviate these concerns in the event that we're about to have a lot more students?
So it's a beautiful thing that our university is growing as quickly as it is. And an idea that we have been working on, it's a very new idea, but a lot of students have told us that this would really help out with that issue exactly. And obviously we only have so much space. And adding these lots that you drive to, then you take a bus, and then you get to campus, and then you walk to your class, that takes a lot of time. So we actually are working right now to, try and find out a way that we could have drop-off on campus. Do you have a roommate that could just drop you off that you live with? Then you don't have to worry about that issue. That could really alleviate a lot of things, because I know a lot of people live with several people, and it's just much more convenient, and that would also kind of lift the burden on the school to try and find somewhere to add a parking lot or something like that.
Thank you. I think parking has been a huge problem at this university, and I think the root of that problem is the transportation system. I think if we have a more effective transportation system, we're going to be able to alleviate a lot of that parking pressure. Another thing that I've really noticed is the parking pressure is at its highest on game days. One of my plans to directly address that issue is to have a bus route on game days that goes from Tech Terrace, North Overton, other neighboring communities, and up to the football game, so we can alleviate a lot of that parking pressure on campus for game days, but also more importantly, that's going to get our Red Raiders to and from the game safely. In addition to a better transportation system, I think we need to continue to work to be a stronger, more bike-friendly campus. We've done a lot of great work in the past couple years getting the campus to free range. I think we need to continue to improve on that and make sure that people can bike efficiently and safely around our campus.
Can you repeat the question?
In consideration that our goal as a university is to reach 40,000 students by 2020, and current permit holders are complaining about how there's not enough room in the commuter parking lots, and other students complain about there's not a lot of convenient parking on campus. What would you do to alleviate this pressure?
Thank you. Well, to alleviate pressure, we're gonna have to work with the busing system just because as of now, it is flawed on the time we are on. So with that, since we are one of the largest campuses in the nation, we could easily build further parking lots out and have a more efficient busing system to take students from the parking lot to their classes. And on top of that, since Texas Tech is a bike-friendly campus now, we can push more forward towards the bikes, and something I'm willing to work on and implement something called bike barns. And it'd be more, to make Texas Tech a more friendly campus for bicyclists is where you can get your bikes fixed and tools that you need to pay for, from like your rated card to cash or credit card. So you can easily have everything you need for your bicycle on campus.
Assuming it's my turn. Hey, candidates, got one question for you. This is a pretty diverse position. You know, have a lot of opportunities in a lot of different aspects, but I want you guys to focus on one thing in this question. In what capacity should the external vice president serve in the Lubbock City Council? And please elaborate on your idea.
Well, thank you, Peyton. And as you know, me and you have actually gone to Electric Utility Board and City Council meetings together. I think we've done a lot of great work to get that resolution up to the City Council and hopefully have that ex officio seat. For those of you that might not be aware, we're currently working on getting an ex officio non-voting seat on the City Council so that we have a student representative with the City of Lubbock that can speak on the City Council but doesn't have a vote. That's going to make sure that our input is always put in important city decisions. I know a good example is there's construction on Erskine right now. I think if a student had been on that City Council in a non-voting perspective, they could have shown how much that would have adversely affected some of the transportation here at Texas Tech University. But I think the real thing with our connection with the City of Lubbock and the City Council is, again, going to be showing our commitment to being strong partners. I think if we get our students out into the Lubbock community, we do a community service day, we really show the City of Lubbock that we're committed to being a strong partner for the long run. Not only are they going to allow us to have an ex officio seat on the City Council, I think they're going to welcome, I think they're going to encourage it, and I think we can build a really strong relationship for the future.
Thank you. Well, that was very based on the same lines of mine. In the aspect, as of now, you have our ex officio member on this on the Lubbock Transit Board right now, and with that, I hate to reiterate the same thing that Brady was saying, but if we could do that on the City Council and continue the relationship that you have established, so that they can know exactly what they do are going to affect the students, and give them our opinion, so they could think if we need to do it at a certain time or how crucial it is if it's going to affect us for the positive or the negative. Thank you.
So I completely agree with everything that's been said. You know, we absolutely should have a position like that in the City Council. And to directly answer the question, how involved should we be? As absolutely completely involved. We need to be there 100% because this community is the community it is because of this university, and things would change for the better the more that we get involved with each other, the more that, especially as the external, that position is crucial. And that's one of the main things that we as Connect Tech would like to do is connect our university even more, as much as we can, 110%, with as much of the community as we can reach. So to simply directly answer that question, 110% involvement is what we would like to do.
At this time, we would like to field any open forum questions from the gallery. Come on down. Sorry.
You're up. Are you starting? This next one. I think it's directed to the one.
This one's more directed at Peter. In the past that I read that you had unethical campaigns. How will we be sure that this year that your campaign will be ethical in what you do for SGA and for external president?
Well, what I believe you're referring to is Cotton v. Stovall. If you actually read the Supreme Court case hearing, you'll find that all of my candidates were found completely innocent. Furthermore, I was never charged with anything, actually. I ran a campaign where there were candidates who were accused of doing some things. However, I'll remind you that the Supreme Court found them completely innocent.
Okay.
Yes, please.
campaigns and everything, but a lot of your ideas are very similar to the past year's idea, all three of, like last year, the year before and everything. They're running along the same thing, and I want to know that how, as the external vice president, are you going to do something that the past years have failed to do?
So I think the best way to go about that is to just completely, charge in head first. And I think we've made a lot of progress this year, especially, looking closely at the external office. I think we've made a lot of good forward strides, and we just need to keep that momentum up. We need to keep looking at ways to make campus even safer. And, one of the things that I learned while I was in DC, it was a rough semester for any of you guys that check the headlines, and that's, there's more than one way to go about it. So if we hit a roadblock, we'll just look for another way to go about it. And that's not something that scares me, is the fact that we might be told no once or twice or 16 times. If it's what's best for the students, then, as I keep saying, Connect Tech, we are about connecting our students, connecting our community, and we're not afraid to be told no. We want to do what's best for our students, no matter how much work that takes.
Well, thank you for the question, Ms. Weeks. The one thing that I really think that I'm going to be able to bring to this office is to really hit the ground running, especially on our involvement and our engagement with the community of Lubbock and with our state legislators. I think in the past year since I've seen Texas Tech, we haven't been very involved with the legislator when they're meeting. This year is going to be the 84th session of the Texas Legislature, and I think we shouldn't just go up there just for Tech Day in Austin. We should have a constant presence. My goal as external vice president is going to be, as soon as those November elections are over, as soon as we know who we're going to have in the legislature, to be communicating with our offices, making sure that we already build those connections, so by the time they get into office, they gavel in early January, they already know who we are. I also think it's really important that as soon as we get into office on May 1st, we're talking with the city of Lubbock, we're getting out into the community, and we're getting out into campus, getting our student body as engaged as possible.
Thank you. With that, I would say every single year I feel like our external vice president has increased and has done better for the position. And with that, I would like to have the students more involved with that. Since our job is for the students, not the administration. We're here for the students' voice and what they need and what they want for the campus. So with that, I would say we just need to listen to what they want so that we can make the change and make Tech a more student-friendly campus.
Yes, Ms. Beal. One note, please give a question that all three candidates can answer.
Hello. Hi. I actually had the pleasure of working in the student government office for about 3 years, ending in last December. So I've seen several executive offices come through. I'm sure most of you know that our bus system right now is actually operating at a deficit. And past external VPs have wanted to kind of fix that by raising the student fees to cover that. I was wondering what your plans were to sort of equalize or lessen that deficit, if you are for raising student transportation fees, or what your thoughts are on just the bus system right now, and because I think this year it actually raised that deficit, made it worse, so what your thoughts are on improving that.
So one of the things that we would really like to look into, personally I live at Trails and I watch one of the buses, basically one follows right after the other. You can stand on the corner and see one bus and then about a minute later another bus. So just kind of fixing those kinks where we have a little bit of an overlap could really help to cut back on expenses that City Bus would be incurring on behalf of having this contract with us, because as Connect Tech we really are not in support of raising fees for students. We realize that things need to get done, but our main goal is to try and find a way to do that without increasing that financial burden on students, because college is expensive, guys, and I'm sure we're all aware of that. So as I said, we have an idea to bring this bike system to campus, which would be expensive in its implementation, but we think that we can find a way to do that in a way that will overall be very financially beneficial, as well as saving time for our students. So basically just looking into ways to make sure that we don't have that overlap and things like that.
Thank you, Ms. Beal. From my service on the Transportation Fee Committee, I've really educated myself a lot on this issue. So what we did this year with the new routes, what Peyton did when he implemented those in the spring, those financially stabilized the system, meaning that we're currently not increasing the deficit. However, there is still a bit of a slight deficit remaining. I will never advocate for a policy unless it's absolutely necessary to raise a student fee. I think everybody in this room knows that college is already expensive enough. So anytime we can avoid increasing that expense, we should do that. I think the big thing that we need to do here is continue to make the system more efficiently. Ms. Brandon hit on a great point that buses often trail each other. I think we can really expand on the efficiency of the system, though, by making sure that the routes are syncing with each other and that we're not seeing too much of that overlap. I'd also say, too, this account is over $3 million. The last time a finance major managed that account was in 2008. Coincidentally enough, that's when the deficits kind of started. I'm a finance major. I have the tools to manage $3 million in an account, so I think I'd probably be one of the more effective candidates to be able to do so.
Thank you. Well, as from my sources, pretty much every single university runs at a deficit. It's not uncommon at all. Most universities do. And with that, saying we don't have to run at a deficit. The fact that we are at a deficit, we could easily revert that through over the years, because over the years we are going to minimize the bus routes since we are trying to go to a completely bike-friendly campus and have no buses by the year 2025, roughly. So with that, if we can, sorry, excuse me, I'm sick, so I'm trying to get my thoughts together. And also, since I do take the trolley to class every single morning, I do have noticed where there'll be times I've seen 2 trolleys back to back, and I miss both of them because I can see it in the far distance. Then I'm there waiting for 15 plus minutes, wondering when the next trolley is, and we have 2 running, and I know they're running tag team together, and they're not being efficient for the students.
I think we have time for one more question. Is it going to be a question that everyone can answer? Okay. Yes, Mr. Tomlin.
How do y'all feel about the rec fee increase?
So basically, that's kind of a mixed bag, and we're not here to tell the students that you should or should not feel a certain way about a fee increase, because one of our main platforms as Connect Tech is to tell the students what's going on so that they know, because we have newspaper articles and things like that, which we actually have a wonderful newspaper, but we need to expand ways that we try and reach out to students with that, because a lot of people just don't know what's in those things, the information covered. So basically, personally, I think that it could be good, but that would be a very long-term goal. And that's what we really believe, is that students should be able to decide for themselves if they would like to pay a $25 increase or not.
Well, I've been following this issue since the fall, and there's a couple of different components to this that need to be understood. It's a $25 fee increase. 15 of that dollars goes directly to creating new rec fields, our turf fields. I think it's great to get the student opinion on that. If students want to pay more for an additional service, we should have the referendum. We should see how they feel. The other $10, so the original rec fee recommendation said that we needed $7 more to cover increasing utility costs, replacing old equipment, standard maintenance kind of things. The other $3 kind of popped out to bring it to the $100 limit. It goes to the $100 limit because currently the Texas Higher Education Code limits a public university's recreation fee to $100. It was brought, my understanding is that the reason we're doing $25 is to bring it to the limit so that we have lobbying power in the future to possibly raise that limit. I'm not for that second part. I'm totally for giving the students the option if they want a $15 increase. But as far as raising it to limit, just to raise for the limit, I don't think we need to raise the cost of education any more than we need to. So I hope that addresses the question. I kind of split it up a bit, but those are my thoughts on it.
All right, thank you. I'm more 50-50 on some of those. With that, actually, my running mate Bailey is the one who wrote the legislation with this. I support it because with us as the university, we're going to be growing to 40,000 students by 2025. And with that, we are trying to increase the rec fee by $25, like he said, for 15 for the turf fields and 10 for the maintenance of the current rec building. And with that, how are we going to, as of now, we are already jam-packed, and I know you can wait a couple of minutes just for one machine. And I personally have to go out and pay for a gym membership at Planet Fitness just so I can work out on the university I pay for. And with that, how are we going to increase to 40,000 students and thus have the same size rec and expect everyone to be able to use it efficiently at the same time? So I think my goal, I do not want to raise any fees, but with this, I am supportive of this, just so that we can make the university better for all the students and the future students coming.
Excellent. With that, we'll have our second 5-minute intermission. Feel free to give them a round of applause.
This is you.
You want to be a director in Hollywood? Maybe you want to capture someone's attention on a 30-second spot. Maybe you'd rather be a social media manager, or you want to sit behind the World News Desk. You can do that here at the College of Media and Communication at Texas Tech University with a degree in advertising, electronic media, journalism, media strategies, or public relations. From here, it's possible.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
That's low, that's low. That's low and below.
Look, he's blushing.
There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
This is you. You want to be a director in Hollywood? Maybe you want to capture someone's attention on a 30-second spot. Maybe you'd rather be a social media manager, or you want to sit behind the World News Desk. You can do that here at the College of Media and Communication at Texas Tech University with a degree in advertising, electronic media,
journalism, media strategies, or public relations. From here, it's possible.
That we will move on to our graduate vice president candidates. Florenzio, could you please come down, sir? And Mr. Peter Brady, that will be serving as a proxy this evening for Pradeep, who unfortunately has a test right now. And y'all went ahead and got in perfect order as well. That's awesome.
We try.
That's really great. Florenzio Aranada, is that correct? Florencio Arananda III is a native from Presidio, Texas, and also from Mexico as well. Florenzio is a first-generation college student and received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Spanish with a minor in political science from Texas Tech University in May of 2007. In 3 years, Florenzio's current pursuit includes a Doctor of Philosophy in higher education with an emphasis in policy and a minor in Spanish from Texas Tech University. Furthermore, Florencio has been highly involved on campus, serving on numerous academic, professional, and extracurricular organizations and committees. Mr. Aranada, did I get that correct? I apologize. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, Mr. President.
Appreciate you. So understanding. He served as president of the Texas Tech University Graduate Student Advisory Council. Florencio's professional experience includes work at the U.S. House of Representatives as a congressional intern for the office of Congressman Pete Gallego. And Florencio served as the 2013 Social Justice Chairman and currently serves as the 2014 Director of Legislative Affairs for the National Association of Graduate Professional Students. If elected as the 2014-2015 SGA Graduate Vice President, Florencio's primary focus will be that of leading advocacy efforts geared at further advancing the educational experiences of graduate and professional students by advocating for these individuals at the local, regional, state, and national level. Let's give Florencio a round of applause. Once again, I apologize. I'm not good at pronunciation. Pradeep, who once again is not here, unfortunately, he has a test, is a graduate student working towards a double MBA master's program in the Master's of Science program in the Health Organization Management and Science. While being pre-admitted into medical school, his environment at Texas Tech includes President-elect, Terry Foundation Scholar, research assistant at the TTU Health Sciences Center, and a member of the Dr. Bernard Harris Pre-Med Society. In addition to schooling, Pradeep also works as a medical assistant at the Lubbock Sports Medicine and teaching assistant for biology, and tutors underprivileged children through a local church. Pradeep is by far one of the most distinguished individuals in the university and has seen and most definitely has #experience where it counts. Let's give Peter Brady a round of applause, everybody. Yes. And Pradeep.
That was all Pradeep.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. With that, a couple reminders. 2-minute responses. Feel free to ask them to repeat the question, ask the panelists. Mr. Peyton Craig will be letting you know of how much time you have left in the front there. There's water underneath your podiums. And all gallery questions, please make sure that's a question that all candidates can answer as well. With that, Ms. Cervantez, go right ahead.
Thank you. Candidates, what types of programs or services would you implement and oversee for grad students that would get them more involved in campus and SGA that are already not in place?
Okay, so one of the things that I would focus my attention on as graduate vice president is really implementing programs that currently aren't in place in Student Government Association. One of the things that I've seen is this lack of online education presence. Really having our Student Government Association cater to our online students. They're present here. They're a big population of who we are at Texas Tech, so we need to focus our attention on them. speaking with the CIO of our institution and any other affiliates that are for online education, and really trying to benefit them. That would be one of the attentions. Another one of the initiatives. Another initiative that we can do as student government and for graduate students is really focus our attention on providing academic and professional development opportunities for them. Currently, we see that dispersed through other organizations or other departments at Texas Tech, but we aren't solely focused and centered in SGA. So by really focusing our attention, maybe providing 2 or 3 initiatives that are solely based on academic and professional development, maybe webinars, maybe some workshops or career fairs to come to Texas Tech that is represented through Student Government Association. Those are some ways that we can start catering and really alleviating the concerns, the needs, and helping out our graduate student population. Thank you.
Thank you. Pradeep is really passionate about improving our graduate life here at Texas Tech University. As we've seen before, oftentimes the graduate population gets segmented away from our university, which we never want to be the case. At Texas Tech University, at student government, we represent all 33,000 students here at Texas Tech University, undergrad, grad, and professional. Pradeep really feels that one of the best resources we have to connect with the graduate students here is through our Graduate Student Organization Representatives Council. Over the past year, Daniel Yates and his Deputy Chief of Staff have worked to really make a stronger connection with those graduate student orgs, and connecting through the graduate student orgs is a great inlet to really talk to more graduate students, hear their concerns, and make sure their voices are heard. Another great thing that's been implemented this past year by current Graduate Vice President Daniel Yates, and that Pradeep wants to improve on and continue to do, is graduate student orientation. This past August, when graduate students were coming in starting, we had an orientation just for them where we talked about graduate issues. We made sure that they knew that they had a place where they could voice their graduate concerns, and really opening that line of communication between the Graduate Vice President, anybody on his staff, and our graduate centers in SGA is going to be the key. And like I said, I think the 2 best channels for doing so, and what Pradeep wants to do, is really do a lot through the graduate student orientation in the fall and continue to be connected to graduate students through Graduate Source throughout the year.
Ms. Kapusta.
My question is, in what ways do you plan to help international students attending graduate school here at Texas Tech?
Well, being of international descent and a big proponent of international students, one of the things that I would do and that I'm currently doing and have been doing with the Graduate Student Advisory Council, which I was the founding president of, a lot of the things that Brady has mentioned, we have already been working towards that. In terms of international students, we're focusing our attention on the student health insurance, trying to provide better options for our international students. Currently, and this is a big statistic, graduate students roughly make $1,200 in their graduate research assistantships, and $700 of those dollars go towards their international health insurance. So that would be one of the things that I would focus my attention on for international students. Additionally, the process to get here and to maintain themselves here through HB1 visas and so on and so forth is another thing that I would focus my attention on. These students suffer. These students are away from home, and we need to try to find ways to better cater to them to alleviate the process while they're here and before they even get here. So those are some of the ways I would help international students.
Pradeep is very keen on the international student presence here at Texas Tech and understands that currently Texas Tech University is drawing some of the most outstanding students from all over the world. I think the real key to making sure that we're connecting with those international students and making sure that they're comfortable here at Texas Tech University is honestly welcoming them when they get here first. And one way we want to do that is we want to create a better airport shuttle system. So that, when they get here, they're in a new country, they don't know what's going on, they can get a shuttle from the airport to campus or to where they're coming, so they feel welcome at the university. I think another thing that we really need to push, and Pradeep really wants to push, is to make sure the Office of the Graduate Vice President is constantly reaching out to those international communities. We have a lot of segmented areas on campus that kind of deal with different international affairs, and you kind of sometimes have to run around a bit, but really centralizing a resource for our international students to make sure that they know what they need to do, make sure they feel at home at Texas Tech is going to be a big thing. As Francino mentioned, the health insurance issue is extremely important to Pradeep as well. It's important that we're finding better alternatives for these graduate students because the current system traps them into paying too high of an amount for health insurance. We want to make sure that they have as many options as possible so their education can be very financially stable and they don't have to constantly worry about running out of money or needing to request money from home or anything of that nature.
Ms. Wilson.
One of Texas Tech's goals is to emerge as a national research university by 2020. If elected, what will you do to help graduate students move Texas Tech towards Tier 1 status?
Oh, I can go.
Okay. So I have a couple of things that myself and Connect Tech have been really trying to push forth, and that we would push forth if granted the honor of serving as graduate vice president. Currently, the travel research, the research travel funds is at $25,000. One of the things that we would do is try to double that or triple that. Speaking with administrators to try to improve that travel funding in order for our students to have more of that. Daniel Yates has spearheaded that, and I really thank him for his leadership on that. So really improving on that and bettering the system. Additionally, providing more assistance, research assistantships availability. We are being outbeat by a lot of our Big 12 competitors because they have better research incentives and better research packages. So providing more research dollars for those students to come to Tech is another way. And last but not least, just really focusing our attention on that online component and really going out to the students, connecting with them and seeing what they want and seeing how we can assist them through their research and really highlighting the fact that they are big researchers here and that we're going to continue to become better at what we're doing. So those are 3 ways that I would assist.
So a large part of our school reaching Tier 1 university is going to involve our university moving up on the U.S. and News World rankings. And one aspect of that is going to be increasing the size of our graduate school and graduate recruiting. I think we really need to focus on recruiting top graduate scholars to come to Texas Tech University. And I think the heart of that is going to be improving graduate life here at Texas Tech University. So a couple of ways we can do that. We can really make better RA-ships around the university, have general high-standing RA-ships through the graduate school specifically to recruit top scholars to Texas Tech University. But we also need to make sure that some of the needs of our graduate students are being met better than they currently are. A couple of examples of this would be childcare on campus. Many of our graduate population have children, have families, and are having issues with that childcare. Another way that we really need to cater more to our graduate population is to make sure that our night ride system and other nighttime transportation areas are more accessible to them so that they're up in their labs late at night. They're doing research. We need to make sure that if they're leaving late at night, they can leave safely and get home safely. But Pradeep feels that one of the best things he can do as the graduate vice president to facilitate our university going to Tier 1 status is going to be to work to improve graduate life so we can really recruit top grad scholars and really grow the graduate school.
Miss Keene, or excuse me, Miss Wilson, or Miss Keene. Sorry about
that. Both the graduate vice president candidates have expressed wishes to lower the healthcare costs for graduate students on campus. If healthcare rates are the same for all students and were recently revised to be in accordance with the Affordable Care Act, in your opinion, why do you feel this is strictly a graduate issue, and how do you propose on lowering those rates?
Right. Well, the thing that makes it a graduate issue really is what this affects the most is our international students. And there's a large portion of the international students who are at the graduate level. So coming as an international student, the healthcare requirements are different, and that's why this issue is very specific to the graduate population and specifically that subpopulation of the graduate group. Currently, I think the system, or Pradeep feels that the system is too restrictive on how they get their health care, what methods they do so. I think the best way moving forward to address that subpopulation of the graduate group is to make sure that they have more options for health insurance. Make sure that they have options that are going to be financially suitable for all walks of life entering the graduate school.
And I would have to completely agree. I think one of the things is providing more options for that health insurance. It is a big issue for international students, and they are some of the bigger population holders or that are grad students. So really focusing our attention on that, ensuring that we really go out to them, connect with our international students, hear and really see what they would like for our insurance rates to be at, or see if they have other options that maybe we're not aware of. Additionally, we could look into research of what other Big 12 schools are doing in order to ensure that we're up to par with them in providing those types of international health insurance options. And lastly, one of the things that I would do that I'm currently doing as the National Association of Graduate Professional Students Director of Legislative Affairs is really go out there to DC. What I'm currently doing and lobby for these students. Try to change these things. Try to change because it's a top-down view and it's a top-down decision. So really trying to change that, talking to our state legislature and see what they can do in order to alleviate this process, change the process, maybe not be as restrictive and provide them with more options. Those are the ways that Connect Tech and I would focus our attention on international students with health insurance.
Okay, so my question kind of already got asked, so luckily I have a backup question. And it's multiple parts, which is why I put it as my backup. But part of the grad VP's role is building relationships with the graduate organizations. About 80% of my budget actually flows back down into graduate student organizations. And so how would you explain how you would run SOURCE to help build those relationships, and how would that be different than the way SOURCE is run now?
Okay, so currently I serve as a member of the Graduate Student Advisory Council, and I was a founding president of that. One of the things that we did, and while we were fostering our relationships with SGA, is really ensuring that we go out there and talk to our graduate student population and talk to those graduate student organizations. Some of the things that they do, the reality is that graduate students don't want to go to these meetings. And so trying to find a way to where we can speak with them, go out to them, connect with them, and really trying to see what they want without them having to come to us. Additionally, setting up, one of the things that we could potentially do, which would be a great idea, is maybe if we really need to have their presence physically, is have the presidents come and create like a graduate vice president, president's council, where the presidents of these organizations come here, talk to us, let us know what it is that they want us to address and focus on, and then let them go. Don't waste their time, because they are trying to be those top researchers. They're trying to focus their attention on their research. So let us go out there to talk to them. If we need them to come to us, then let's minimize the number. Let's minimize their time to where it's short, efficient, and they're out the door.
Well, I've worked a lot with Daniel over the past year on Graduate Source, and what Pradeep wants to do, he wants to build off what Daniel has done this year and completely move forward. For those of you that don't know, what Daniel has done this year is he has really made Graduate Source its own separate entity. They don't have to sit through the same stuff that regular Source does, all of that. They break off into their own graduate group, and they discuss issues that are only relevant to the graduate students. Now, Daniel actually has taken the initiative this past year to not just have representatives from the graduate organizations come, but to actually have those presidents come so we can really get a meaningful conversation between them. And through that, we've actually increased some of the money being allocated to graduate organizations. Now, I think what SOURCE needs to be viewed as from the role of the graduate vice president is a tool to reach out to the constituencies. The graduate organizations that are currently in the university, they're a lot different undergraduate organizations in that they're a lot more focused on research, traveling, going to present, and oftentimes they need more money. That unique subgroup that is the graduate student organizations is important that they have that direct line of communication with the person in the office of the graduate vice president and the graduate senators and student government for when budget and finance allocations come around. So as kind of reiterate, what Pradeep will do in office with Graduate Source is build off that strong relationship that the current graduate vice president has built with these organizations to make sure that their voice is always being heard in student government and that their unique issues and situations are being addressed uniquely by the graduate vice president.
At this time, we'd like to field any open forum questions from the gallery. Yes, Ms. Newman.
Hi. Graduate students have to pay higher loan rates than undergraduate students for school loans. So what is your plan of action on advocating that graduate students have lower loan rates?
So I keep mentioning the National Association of Graduate Professional Students. It is an association that represents 500,000 graduate students and over 100 universities, including Ivy League schools. As the Director of Legislative Affairs for that association, one of the things that we are currently doing is focusing our attention on student loan and student debt. And so some of the things that we're doing is we're going to lobby and advocate on behalf of regarding that issue at the Texas State Legislature and in DC on the Hill to really ensure that our students are being heard and to try to reverse that decision that was made to try to allow students to have subsidized loans rather than unsubsidized loans, to allow students more caps, to more money whenever they're applying for scholarships or loans or grants for that matter. Bring back the Pell Grant, bring back student grants, bring back graduate student scholarships, and really, like I said, it's a top-down view. Our universities kind of are dictated by, they do what is dictated through the state legislature and from DC. So focusing our attention on really advocating and really going out there and saying that this is something that graduate students don't want and trying to reverse that and to get that back to how it was before. Thank you.
Well, graduate loans and the debt they carry is the central point of Pradeep's lobbying platform. And we've had a lot of discussions about this. And we talk about this all the time. The fact is that our graduate and professional students are many of the job creators in our economy. And currently, on unsubsidized loans, they're having to borrow at double the rate some undergraduate students are borrowing at. Now, here's the ridiculous part. Our banks on Wall Street are currently borrowing at under 1%, yet our government's currently treating our students like a profit center. And what Pradeep wants to do is hit that head on, lobbying in the 84th legislature, the Texas legislation, going to DC, lobbying, talking to representatives, making them understand that these graduate students are going out into our economy. They're not only there holding jobs and giving tax revenue, they're creating jobs for other people. So it's very important that our legislators understand the important role graduate and professional students play in this economy and stop treating them like profit centers. We need to lower that loan rate. Florencio said, and I agree with that part of it, we need to make sure that graduate students are getting subsidized loans, that they're not borrowing at twice the rate of our undergraduate students. And I think looking towards the future and a long-term plan, we need to start working on our government to make sure that our students can borrow at rates that our banks aren't borrowing at rates that are lower than what our students can get money at to go to college, get an education.
Any more questions at this time? Yes, sir. Come on down. Daniel, want to pass him that mic? Thank you.
How are both of the candidates going to make the time, for the position because it involves such a large amount of personal time?
Well, I thank you for that, and it's one of the questions that I wanted to address. As a PhD student, we're invested in our research, but I will say this, I am currently in my dissertation phase, so I don't take courses anymore. I would treat my responsibilities as a graduate vice president as a job from 8 to 5. I understand that we have responsibilities outside the 5 o'clock realm. However, that's the beauty of it. My dissertation is self-paced, and I'm an extremely motivated and dedicated individual where I can really foster my time between both and ensure that I'm serving the graduate population and the overall student body at Texas Tech while fulfilling my duties as a graduate, a PhD student. Aside from that, one of the things that I would do is really ensure that I work effectively and with my committee, my dissertation committee, to ensure that they know that I'm in this and I want to effectively represent our graduate student population, and so that they know that I'm in it to win it. I'm in it because I want to help the graduate population, but I'm also going to commit my time to them. So really establishing those fine lines between the two is the only way that I will effectively be able to do both.
Well, in case you didn't notice, I'm not Pradeep, but that being said, I wish I was. You guys heard what Pradeep was involved in, all the organizations he's done. He's done all of that while graduating with his undergraduate degree with high honors. Pradeep is one of the most driven individuals I know, and the reason he's not here tonight is because a lot of his classes fall at nighttime. What that means is that during the day, he's going to have ample time to be in the SGA office, taking meetings, meeting with people in the graduate school, so that he can effectively carry out the duties of the graduate vice president. As a very close friend of Pradeep's and a current SGA chief of staff who understands the inner workings of the student government office, I have no doubt that Pradeep will be able to carry out those duties to the fullest extent.
Any more questions? Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Hey.
We're going to take another 5-minute intermission and then move on to the presidential candidates.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hey everybody! Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change.
Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet! Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women.
I could use your help.
Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
This is you. You want to be a director in Hollywood? Maybe you want to capture someone's attention on a 30-second spot. Maybe you'd rather be a social media manager, or you want to sit behind the World News desk. You can do that here at the College of Media and Communication at Texas Tech University with a degree in advertising, electronic media, journalism, media strategies, or public relations. From here, it's possible.
Acknowledging you earlier. Welcome. We are going to move on to our last group of candidates for the evening, the presidential nominees. I know everyone's been very excited for that as well, along with our other candidates. At this time, I would like Mr. Hayden Hatch to come down, Gustavo Chavarria, and Tyler Frevert. I apologize once again if I butchered your names.
Mine's only one syllable.
People were psyching me out. Chavilla. Okay. Chavilla. Okay. His name is Hayden Hatch. He was born in Lubbock, Texas. He's a political science major with a minor in legal studies, and he has served as president of the Freshman Council in fall 2011 and through spring 2012. He served as an Arts and Sciences Center from 2012 to 2013. He currently serves the students as a center at large for the 2013 and 2014 year. He is also the current chairman of the Campus Infrastructure Committee and chairman of the at-large senators. He is running with BALEIGH, WALDROP, and Stetson Whetstone, presidential candidate Hayden Hatch to my far right. Let's give him a round of applause. In the center, Gustavo is a first-generation college student from El Paso, Texas. He's studying international business and Spanish. He's studied abroad in Spain and Italy. Gustavo is the current president of the Hispanic Student Society, first and largest multicultural organization at TTU. Serves as a Chancellor's Ambassador, Diversity Ambassador, Rawls College of Business Diplomat, Senator and Chair of the College of Arts and Sciences, and Chair of the Diversity Committee within SGA. He works as a mentor and tutor to students in East Lubbock, promoting college readiness. Running as the first Hispanic student body president, promoting student organizations and funding diversity awareness, healthy food options, and campus safety. Gustavo Chavilla in the center. Mr. Tyler Freevert is seeking the office of Student Body President from the Freevert, Shackelford, Brady. I can't pronounce these Twitter things. Experience where it counts. Tyler is a junior finance major from Dallas, Texas, and is constantly recognized academically for earning the President's List. He has actively gained the attention and respect of the Texas Tech University administration through his affiliation with the Office of the President. Tyler is involved in President Select, Alpha Lambda Delta, Phi Eta Sigma National Honor Societies, Texas Tech Men's Club, and various volunteer groups. From donor and alumni relations to recruiting prospective students and athletes, Tyler has been representing this university in a very positive light. As student body president, it will be Freevert's responsibility to be the student voice to the administration, an area where he is unquestionably has the hashtag experience where it counts. Let's give him a round of applause to my far left. Excellent, gentlemen. A couple notes again. We'll be starting with the far right and then rotating to your left per each question. Please limit your responses to about 2 minutes each. Feel free to ask the questioner to repeat their question. Peyton will be letting you know how much time you have in the front, and there's water underneath your podium in case you get thirsty. Starting us off, Election Commission Chair Vivian Cervantez.
Evening candidates. As student body president, how would you partner with other student organizations and SGAs at other institutions?
Okay, I believe I'm up. Before I start, I wanted to thank the Hub for this amazing production. I think we need another round of applause. It'll help wake y'all up anyways. Thank you for the question, Vivian. Student orgs is very important to me and my team. We think they're the backbone of the student body, and they are the overachieving students, and we like that. We would like to continue the great job that the current administration has done with SOURCE this year. But other thoughts on that, I would like to extend SOURCE and create it as an easier event to come to, and maybe outsource that on the internet in any way possible. I know that these students are very busy, and sometimes that SOURCE meeting just isn't going to happen, and it is very important they make those SOURCE meetings. I'd like to set up something where they could possibly make those meetings online and receive all the instruction they need to that way. Thank you.
All right, that's a great question. The reason I'm in SGA right now is because of my involvement in student organizations. If it wasn't for that student organization that reached out to me right orientation my freshman year, I don't think I would be standing up here right now. I am a first-generation college student, and I think that's a great advantage because I'm here learning what the steps are of student government. I'm learning the steps of how to get funding. As I said, I started student government here because I want to improve those student organizations. I want to partner up with them. I want to see them shine because I believe they're the ones that can help you achieve what you want to do here at Texas Tech. Partnering with other institutions, we want to share and collaborate ideas. We want to bring those ideas here at Texas Tech. As Ashley had told us before, we want to, when people think of Texas, we want to think about Texas Tech.
Thank you so much for asking that question. That's actually something that I'm really trying to work on right now. Now, I think the SGA Ambassadors Program is an excellent program that we have here, and I think we can really utilize that program more efficiently and use it to really outreach to different organizations. You know, our administration isn't someone who wants to sit behind the desk and not get out after election. We really want to get out there and get involved and hear those students' concerns. We plan on, when we can't possibly be there, to bring those SGA ambassadors as well to maybe once a month sit down with various organizations, and you can really get to hear those students' concerns every month so you know what's going on and staying current. Also, I think it's important that to kind of highlight these organizations so you can get more involved with them, and I plan on doing that through an SGA newsletter. Now, I'm sure I'll go into more detail on that a little bit later, but one of the things that I really want to use with that is to be able to highlight some of the great things that different organizations are doing. I don't think that, you know, we're necessarily showing all the great things that these organizations are doing, and I think it'd be very, very, very beneficial to everyone to get that message across and get their support. Thank you, Paige. Like I said, I'm trying to remember what my train of thought was. I apologize. SGA newsletter, get involved. Oh, also, you also mentioned about getting involved with other SGAs across different universities. That's extremely beneficial. I think, you know, I know that some of the current people that we have working with, Peter Brady, actually knows some different SGA presidents and different members of their cabinet and what's going on. So we can kind of stay current with what's going on with them and we can learn new ideas. I think the only way to grow as an institution is to be able to vary your ideas, learn new things from different people, and bring them to Texas Tech.
Excellent. I lose my train of thought all the time, so it's fine. Ms. Capusta.
Yes. My question is, how do you plan to connect the administrative and student bodies?
I love that question. Thank you. Well, our platform is Connect Tech. We chose that platform because we honestly, Connect Tech wants to connect departments, wants to connect students, wants to connect the administration to the students. As I said before, I was first generation here at Texas Tech. I joined an organization. We didn't get funding because we didn't know about the funding application. That's where I went and knocked on doors. Went to the second floor of the sub, third floor of the sub, Mr. Gunn knows, bothering him, asking him all his questions. We want to connect those students to different departments. There's different funding out there for each individual. So we want to connect students to go up to the president's office, get the administration connected, get that information about different internships that is available. If you want to go intern in DC, you have to go to the administration, get that foot in to get that information.
Thank you so much for asking that question. That actually kind of ties directly with something I'm pushing for on my platform. And I think that's something very unique about me compared to some of the other candidates, is that I work with administration daily. I mean, some of these people are good friends of mine, and I think it's very important that they hear what's going on with students. And the great thing is they want to hear what's going on with students. One of the things that I'm really pushing for is something I'm calling Breakfast with the President. Now, every month, I want to get a group of students together. We can sit down, enjoy some breakfast, and you can really voice your comments and concerns to administration. So it wouldn't be only to myself, but Dr. Nellis, so we guarantee that your voice is heard. This wouldn't be something that we're just presenting to you. We really want to hear your voice. We're doing this for you. We want to make sure that your voice is heard so we can accurately represent you. Something else that I kind of want to do working with administration currently is I kind of want to break that barrier. Yes, I have the unique experience to be able to voice your concerns, but I want to break that barrier so you get to know them on a personal level and you can personally go talk to them and know them on a one-on-one level. So it's not that you're just relying on me. If you have a common concern, you really just want to talk to administration, you'll be able to do it.
Okay, thanks. Yes, it is a great question. I would like to point out that although I might not have the most experience with the administration up here right now, this position works for the students and not the administration. My goal will be to set specific goals from ideas and problems that we have seen on campus this year. That is the way to connect student government and regular students with the administration. If we are proactively dealing with issues that students care about, administration will hear us clearly, and I believe we'll be able to accomplish these things. Once again, I want to work for the students. That's why my platform revolves around things and issues that we have seen this year, direct things. And I think all these ideas are good. I think we can work with all of them together. But the most important thing, and the way to get SGA out there, is to deal with the issues at hand, the busing system, spring break, dead day, making it longer, things that we know students care about. I believe that is going to be the most effective way to deal with administration.
Ms. Wilson?
What are your plans to get Texas Tech students more involved with the Student Government Association?
It starts with me now. To get more students involved with SGA, I think it's crucial, of course, that we can kind of get them connected. And I think that's one of the great things about SGA ambassadors. I'm really sorry. Can you please repeat the question? I'll make sure I answer it fully. And I blanked last time, and I'm not going to let it happen this time.
What are your plans to get Texas Tech students more involved with the Student Government Association?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said, yes, SGA ambassadors. I want to get them to get out there and get the name of SGA. I mean, I'm coming from a background where I know that sometimes you feel like you don't necessarily know with what's going on in SGA, and I think that's part of the problem. I want to get out there and be that voice and have other people such as the SGA ambassadors get out there and really voice what kind of things student government can do for you directly. It has a lot of power, and I think it's really crucial that these students know where their money's going. SGA has an operating budget of around $500,000, and it comes from all of our student service fees, and a lot of students don't really necessarily realize that. They know it kind of comes from them, but they don't know how much of an impact they can really use this service. It's a service. I'm working for you to make this university a better place. And I think through various things we can make that happen, including the SGA newsletter, producing that bi-quarterly so students can kind of get involved. That information will be out there for you, sent via email. So you have the option to read with what's going on, whether that's something passing in legislation, all kinds of different things that are currently going on. You'll be able to have your voice heard and know with what's going on inside, where your money's going, how it's being used, how great organizations can get a hold of that money.
Okay, yes. And this is a very important issue, as we know that voting turnout only averages about 15% over the last 3 years. One thing that I have worked on the past year and I want to accomplish if elected is to create a special committee on increasing voter turnout. Once again, I'm going to have to stick with my answer from last time. The way we get students more involved with student government is to deal with issues that we know they are concerned on. Now, all these ideas are great, but until we start focusing on these things, we can't expect students to come out of their way to get involved with us. So I would like to create that special committee, get voter turnout, and I am expecting a huge voter turnout in this election because we have some outstanding candidates. So I'm excited to see that. I think that's the first step. Keep increasing voter turnout, deal with specific issues that the students care about, and I think the job will be easy from there.
Some of the statistics that we've been using throughout our campaign is 15.3%. That's roughly the number that the voters last year that voted for the student government, and 100%. That's the percentage of students that are affected by everything we do here at Texas Tech through student government. I want to get more people involved, more students involved in SGA. We see senators drop back and forth throughout the semester and the year, and we need to keep that retention. As I said, we're great about getting people here at Texas Tech, promoting that. But we need to retain them. Retention at Texas Tech, getting them more involved with student government so their voice is heard. If you want to increase the reg fees, it's up to you. It's up to you, to the voters to vote and go out there and vote. Also, student organizations. SGA has to make a bigger impact in those organizations. They need to be able to go out there and meet with the organizations, know when they meet, what different organizations are here on campus, and how we can help them fund them. Maybe take them to special conventions, get more information to help them increase their knowledge towards the future and their career goals.
Ms. Keene?
Again, in preparation for to reach Tech's Tech goal, 40,000 students by 2020, in your opinion, what should be Tech's next infrastructural move, either renovation or building, and why would this be in the best interest of the students?
Well, I actually have some unique insight on that answer there because I have been the chairman of Campus Infrastructure Committee. There is one building, and I don't know if everybody's aware of it. It's called Weeks Hall. It is at the premier location in our campus right off Broadway, and it has been vacant for quite some time. That is going to be a long haul project, but it is such a beautiful building. I would like to see some progress made on that, and we can move, whether it be students or classrooms, into that building. I think that would be great. And can you repeat the second part of your question?
And why do you think that would be in the best interest of the students?
Well, right. Well, I think giving the students more room to do whatever they need is great. And on your point about reaching more students quickly, I would like to see SGA help in that in a way that they have not before. I would like to help recruit students along with administration, along with other organizations like President Select, to help recruit the best and brightest students. We are the leaders in this campus, and I take pride in the student government that has great senators. I would love to see us doing everything we can to help Tech's goals in that matter.
One of the main things I've been working with administration these past years is how can we improve Texas Tech? We're growing. We want to grow. We want to be that tier 1 institution. One of the main factors we need is a diversity center, not just a diversity center for different cultures, but international students. I had the privilege of studying abroad this past summer in 2 different countries, different cultures, but I got to learn a lot. I got to learn that these individuals really want to improve the world. We're in the U.S. We think everything is somewhat perfect here in the U.S., but all over the world it's different. We have those international students that want to come here at Texas Tech. They want to get diversified. They want to share their culture here at Texas Tech. So I think one of the big influences we can do to attract those students is making it a diversity cultural center, a freestanding building where we can interact with different students, different cultures, and different beliefs.
Thank you so much for that question. Could you repeat it one more time? I know. It's been
in preparation for Tech's goal to reach 40,000 students by 2020, in your opinion, what should be Tech's next infrastructural move, either building or renovation, and why would that be in the best interest of the students?
Okay, great question. And kind of touch on tier 1 status, I think that's very important. And basically, what is tier 1 status? I mean, tier 1 status can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. It can be outstanding research institution. It could be increasing PhD numbers. It can be great grad programs. I think that we need to possibly increase different research facilities because it'd be in our best interest as a university to hopefully reach that tier 1 status. A common trend with tier 1 that people aren't really aware of is that basically individuals in the undergraduate programs play a huge role. It's not solely based on PhD candidates and the great grad programs. Yes, it plays a huge role, but a lot of these tier 1 institutions, they also have outstanding undergraduate programs, and I think that's overlooked sometimes. And that's something that Texas Tech really shines in. We have an excellent undergrad program here, and I think as your next student body president, if I were to be elected, it'd be improving these programs to bring us to the next level of excellence. That not only increases our degrees worth, but different members of alumni. Also, I think to increase number of students is priority as well to help reach that status. And to reach 40,000 students by 2020 is extremely important. I think my background in President Select, being an official ambassador for Texas Tech University, really gives me a unique light. I've traveled to different cities on behalf of this university, and I've seen just how students want to come to this university. And I think it'd make a huge impact because I have that experience to bring those students here. I hear their concerns of what they're looking for, what they see in other universities, and I think it's important that we know what they're looking for to make that happen.
Excellent. Now for my question. Let me preface this a little bit. I'm a firm believer that student government doesn't create leaders out of the blue. You have to come in wanting to lead. You have to come in a pretty good leader with natural skills to start with. And then joining SGA turns you from a good leader into a great leader. What kind of leadership experiences have you had outside of student government, inside student government, and how does that make you a qualified candidate? And if you could, please detail a time where you had a difficult situation, maybe you failed, and you learned something from that.
Great question. So I don't know if you can see this, but I hold this since my freshman year. It's like a little keychain that Alumni Association gives you. It's a Texas Tech ring. And I'm currently wearing my Texas Tech ring that I received last semester. Throughout my time here at Texas Tech, I've grown as an individual. I've learned many aspects of how to lead. Myself, I was shy when I came in at Texas Tech. I didn't make the friends right away. I didn't join organizations right away. But I was able to join an organization that welcomed me. I was join that organization, which is HSS, Hispanic Student Society, and I grew through it. I held different positions, alumni networking, and then vice president. And I became the president of Hispanic Student Society. I have been able to learn very many aspects, how to get funding for these individuals, how to retain these individuals that come from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. We are that home to them. And my leadership experience has been able to increase that attendance at that organization from 60 to almost over 200 paid members to our organization. I came into student government because I want to improve funding. I want to improve our visibility within student government. I was able to come in the middle of a year, last year, to student government, and then I ran. I wasn't projected to win my position in arts and sciences. I was told that various times. I was elected to be a senator within arts and sciences, and I am current chair of arts and sciences and the chair of diversity committee. I hold that very proud because I was able to apply for chancellor's ambassadors, and I have overcome different obstacles of getting doors shut at me when I'm asking for funding or for help. But I have found those other doors that are open, and I want to connect other students, connect them to those doors, connect them to those administrators that can help you reach your goals.
Thank you so much for asking that question. And I'm going to start out with something that I've always believed in before I came to this university, and that's you're never too young to dream big. And I know that may seem crazy, but standing here right now, I never would imagine I'd be standing in front of y'all with the potential to be able to represent all 33,000 students here. As I've come here, I've grown as an individual, and I've held various leadership possibilities and different representations. One of those being President Select. I got into President Select. You interact with students on a daily basis, and you encourage others to come to this university and stand up. I was involved last summer in a program that the chancellor created called Camp Lead. And basically that's where the chancellor flew in individuals who are different leaders from different schools. And they flew to Texas Tech to learn about this school, go to different leadership building activities such as at Spirit Ranch. And we really got to know those students. And it really helped me grow as a leader, honestly, to be able to see other young student leaders and hear what they're talking about and what kind of things they believe in and that we can bring to this university. My job as student body president is to be your voice and to inspire students that you really can do anything that you ever dream of at any place you really go. And Texas Tech has given me more opportunities to do that than any place I could have ever imagined. And I believe that it's my duty to give back to this great institution and use the experience and leadership that I've gained here to benefit this university for future years to come.
Okay, yes, Luke, it is a good question. I would just like to take this opportunity to say that I am honored to be running along these two guys. They are both outstanding in their own ways. I will start with my experience within SGA because I think that is the most important if you're going to lead an organization. I have authored legislation that does simple things like add additional lighting in dark spots on campus where cars are almost having collisions. Requests from students that I've heard firsthand and taken to the floor and dealt with administration and made sure that they actually got implemented. I have co-authored legislation that adds additional sidewalks simply because students said that certain grassy areas get bogged down with water and you need a sidewalk there. I think that this role can be very simple and very complex at the same time in the way that you simply answer to the students because that's who you are here to represent and that's who you work for. My experience in SGA has truly benefited me, and I hope that it has benefited the students as well. Now, to briefly touch on experience outside of SGA and kind of alongside SGA, I had the honor this year to work with President Cotton in the first annual Game Day Challenge. It was a great experience. We collected over 8 tons of plastic for recycling purposes from after the Tech versus OSU football game. Experiences like that where you can use your position within SGA to make a difference, once again, a practical difference on this campus and get Tech on the spotlight in a good manner, I think is very exciting, and that's why I'm running for this position to further these experiences and hopefully benefit the students as many practical ways as possible.
Excellent. At this time, we'd like to open up to any gallery questions that might be going on. Let's start from the right. Ladies first.
How will you promote diversity?
Is that my turn? Oh, it is me. Oh, okay, let me just see. All right, now diversity on this university obviously is a big concern, and I think that the right way to look at the term diversity is I think that Texas Tech focuses on a problem of unity. I think different organizations with different people tend to kind of silo themselves with their like kinds of groups. Unifying all students as one is going to make us better overall. And I've been actually talking with my appointed director of PR, Jorge, about how we're going to kind of implement these things to kind of bring these groups together. And we've had a big push to bring different organizations from different backgrounds to kind of congregate. We can get to know each other from our different backgrounds and different experiences that we may have had. For example, what if we brought Red Raider Special Olympics, the Black Student Association, and the Ladies of Delta Gamma together to not only learn about SGA, but to make them feel a part of the whole society of the Red Raider community that we all know and love. You know, Delta Gamma is a sorority. Red Raider Special Olympics is a service organization, and the Black Student Society, our Black Student Association, is a multicultural group. Now, necessarily, these individuals may not get together on a normal basis, and I think it'd be beneficial for everyone if we kind of got them together, showed our support of what's going on with different groups, and make them all feel a part of this Red Raider community, because I think priority number one is to make the students that are already here on campus feel welcome, and that will increase our retention rate so we can keep these students here that already are here.
That's great ideas, Mr. Freevert. This is a very important topic, and it's something I don't take lightly. I agree with all those ideas. I think anytime we can get multiple groups together working for something larger than themselves is a great way to form a bond between those groups. And I would love to do that with the local community. As leader of the SGA, I would like to use the manpower we have to start giving back to the local community as well as Texas Tech. We did that with the Recycling Challenge, and I think it was a great way for SGA to use the power they have in that light. I would like to coordinate functions such as that along with student orgs, and we have a close relationship with student orgs, but that relationship doesn't need to exist only because we fund them. I would like to see them a lot more than when budget week comes around. So I would like to set up things like that to serve others, create a bigger purpose in your own, and I would be interested to see where SGA could take that in the future.
So touching on diversity, the university does want to reach 40,000 students in 2021? 2025. 2020, sorry. I've been working the past years. I am a current diversity ambassador for the Texas Tech University. We've been creating different events. We had an event last year called Stand Up for Diversity. We had this great speaker. He was he was a comedian talking about different issues. But we bring different ideas to Texas Tech, not just diversity, cultural diversity, but also academic diversity. We want to bring that different atmosphere here at Texas Tech. We can all feel it right now. We can feel diversity coming in, culturally, academically, and overall, we're growing as a university, and I want to implement that. I'm currently working as a mentor, helping underprivileged students in East Lubbock. But I'm promoting them. I'm being that leader. I'm being that mentor to them, telling them that college is possible. College is attainable. College is possible for the students. College is possible for the students here at Texas Tech.
Excellent. Next open forum question.
Yes, sir. A lot from what we've heard from you tonight is very similar. What makes your platform different?
One thing really quick, if you have an open forum question, please start to put a line right here. That way the camera angles can hit you and they can hear you correctly. Excellent.
Okay, great question. I think this is a great opportunity for us to expand on our individual platforms. One thing that I believe we do have in common is taking Raider Bucks off of campus. I think this is going to be huge for tech students. But specifically, I believe I am the only block that is dealing with the bus system and the way we are. I don't want to sit back and let that bus system just be something that got washed over the students at the beginning of this year and something that we don't proactively look at and try to revise in the future. I would like to see some of those original bus routes continue and go through campus from off of campus. I've just heard a lot of complaints, and honestly, it's been one of the biggest issues I've witnessed as a senator. I would like to answer directly to that and find a solution to that problem. And another thing, I'm sorry, guys. I believe I'm the only campaign that is talking about Dead Day as well. I really wish to expand Dead Day into multiple days to prepare for your finals. I have talked to Chancellor Hance alongside with my other at-large senators. It has been a group effort, and I'm really proud of the ground we've made so far. I think it's a logical thing to do to expand Dead Day and cut Saturday morning exams for those students out there who don't want to be waking up on Saturday morning. So these are a few of our ideas, and thank you for the question.
I think what makes our platform unique is that we're a grassroots movement. We're a grassroots movement because we're here not to bring you the big shiny things everybody wants, but to bring you real solutions to the problems we're facing right now. Texas Tech currently wants to lead, wants to be that leader here in Texas, in the in the U.S. and in the world. But in order to do that, we have to first take care of our own. Currently, safety on campus is a big problem. It's one of our major platforms Connect Tech wants to improve. Lighting on campus, blue lights. One of the things is blue lights, not all blue lights work on campus. So what happens if you're coming back at night from the dorm to your dorm or at the rec and somebody starts chasing after you? What do? You have to start running, right? One of the things we want to do is, I know an organization has already done this, walked around campus, searching for those negative things. The blue lights are not working. Another thing is healthier food options. Currently, there's not enough options for if you're vegan or vegetarian. There's only 3 salad bars on campus. There's one at the market, one at the sub, and one at Hornap. We need to bring those opportunities for students to be able to eat healthier, be able to fix the problems they're facing right now. If they want to get more funding for their organizations, we'll point them to the right direction. There's different funds. There's the funds just specifically for what this university stands for, the pillars of what holds up Texas Tech.
I think this was a great question too. What this is actually, I hate to be cheesy, but where we have the experience where it counts. You know, I think something that's really unique about us is that, you know, for us, there's really not a transition period. You know, I'm able to get out there day one because I already have those connections with administration to make these goals actually happen efficiently and quickly. You know, I've taken the proactive route with almost everything that we've been trying to accomplish, such as, you know, bringing Raider Bucks off campus. You know, I've sat down with the CFO, Noel Sloan, to talk about some of the hurdles that we might need to overcome to accomplish this goal. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's not going to be easy, but it is possible if we stay, you know, persistent and we keep making this happen, because I know administration is excited about it. We're trying to reach new levels of excellence and compete with some of our competitors, and that is really huge. And I hear that a lot from students who are students who come to campus visiting, looking for certain criteria. You know, also, like I said, we're pushing for these things, and I know Taylor's been working towards, you know, student safety. You know, obviously with the busing system, we don't want to have an unsafe bus system. We don't want to hurt kids. We don't want to make sure that they're safe at all times. And I think a great way to do that, that Taylor's been working on proactively, is something that we're kind of calling traffic EDU. It's very similar to like alcohol EDU. I feel like the best way to kind of implement these things is with freshmen coming in. If we can make these students watch traffic safety before they come here with that bicycling and et cetera, I think it'd be very beneficial towards us.
Yes, Joseph.
Oh, good. Okay, thanks.
Could you please come down?
Absolutely. All right. Okay, so as student body president, you are head of the executive branch, which has a very different structure than the legislative branch of the student government. So under y'all's administrations, what kind of relationship would the executive branch have with the SGA Student Senate?
So the way I've been a leader here at Texas Tech, I like to be humble and honest. I like to be able to connect and get the feedback that helps students overcome all the hurdles. If I was to be elected student body president, I want to connect the executive team to the legislative team by being more transparent, bringing those ideas. If you have a question, the door should always be open for you to answer. Also, we need to empower our senators more. Currently, we need to go not being mean against our current executives, but we need to check with them first. Our senators are students as well. They can go up to administration themselves and demand changes if they see it them fit.
I think this is a great question too, and I think the important answer to that is that we want to have a strong relationship with them. We need to know what's going on there, and we need to share that with the students. And I think that's where my SGA newsletter kind of comes into effect. I think a lot of students don't really know what's going through Senate and what's being passed and what's even, you know, on the table right now. And of course, all of us in here know about the rec fees that are potentially going to be increased. And it's important that the students know that. I think it is up to them ultimately to voice their opinions and see how they feel about that. And I think if we produce that newsletter bi-quarterly, we can get that message out there to those students so they have the option to read that. I guess that's about it.
Okay, thanks for the question, Joseph. Just to clarify, the question was how would the executive branch of SGA interact with the legislative branch? Exactly. Okay, thank you. Well, I believe I do have unique experience when it comes to this, as I have been in SGA since my freshman year. I've had the privilege to see what works with administrations and what does not work. We've witnessed this year that providing incentives for senators does work. Providing spotlight for them in the daily TOREADOR if they've just gone above and beyond their duties. I'd like to expand on that. We've done a great job this year. We've had a very, very productive legislative session. However, there does need to be a connection with the executive and the legislative branch. I think the best way to do that is to create a platform within both that reacts directly to the students' needs. I believe my platform does that, and I believe senators will have an easy time getting behind that and helping us push that. I would never want to see a initiative pushed if the Senate is not behind it. They are one of the most effective tools for reaching new changes on this campus. So I would take the experience I have with SGA so far and really create a Senate that is responsive and just builds upon what we've seen this year, because I think we've done a great job. So thanks.
Go ladies first. I'll get you, Mark. Can you come down here? Thank you.
Hello. Obviously, none of you would be here if you were not student leaders on campus. So I would like to ask, what is your style of leadership?
I guess I'll start now. Okay. Oh, yeah. I always get confused. Well, I think that's a great question, honestly. I think my style of leadership is to be honest, caring, and understanding to other students. You know, I don't want to be a demanding leader. I don't want to say, this is the way it is, this is the way it has to be. I want to be open to suggestions and hear what's going on. I mean, as a team, we have some great experience, and, you know, I would never do anything without talking to them with certain areas because they have the necessary experience in their individual categories. It's important to really listen to students and hear what's going on. You never want to talk down to someone. You want to be understanding to them and really listen to them to see what's going on and what the situation is.
All right, I feel like I'm filling out an application for a scholarship of some sort, but no, I think it's a great question. I think it gives some insight on us as individuals. My first way would just be to lead by example. I think that if this president of the Student Government Association is answering to students' desires and their needs, the Senate will surely follow. That being said, I also want to lead by serving the Senate and serving the student body. The ways I will do that is answering to the busing system situations, answering to the spring break situation, answering to certain things that we've seen that are issues this year on campus. Just to give a little insight, I had the opportunity to serve my fraternity, and I don't want to go on too much about that, but as the community service chairman this year, and what I did was took a position that really had not seen any kind of action in the past previous years, and set up a blood drive for our fraternity to do while we're all at chapter. We served the local community. We gathered over 50 pints of blood. We saved multiple lives. I think it's things like this that will draw people's attention and make them realize that you were serious about your position, and I look forward to answering to as many practical needs as I possibly can if elected.
I think in order to be an effective leader, you have to be a servant leader. You need to be able to listen. You need to be able to communicate and answer the questions that face you. I have been a multiple leader of different organizations, but I have done that because I've been able to listen to my members, to my friends. I call them all my friends because we interact with each other. Ultimately, you're spending all the time with each other. You're striving for the same goals. You need to empower those goals. You need to empower those students who one day take that stand. I want one day one of my organization members to come up here in this podium and speak in front of everybody, in front of the media, in front of the radio, because I believe that students need to be empowered. They need to have that knowledge. They need to have that somebody behind them that cares about them and gives them that experience, gives them those tools in order to be effective.
How did each candidate come about picking your team, your executive officers for your team?
Okay, I believe I'm first. Well, I would love to take this opportunity to brag about my running mates. I have the honor of serving with BALEIGH, WALDROP, and Stetson Whetstone as our executive team. BALEIGH was not only the first Senator of the Month, but I believe she would have been the repeat Senator of the Month every year, every month, if we had not installed a rule that you can only win it once. She is just outstanding. She has really just almost worked as an executive member this year. She has accomplished things above and beyond what we have seen senators been doing. If she could do all 3 of our jobs at once, I think she'd gladly take that on and probably do a pretty good job. Stetson, we've been involved in SGA for a long time, so he's a friend as well as a colleague. But I got excited to run with him when we decided we're going to change the bus system back. We're going to do everything we can to take into consideration the premier concern that I heard from students this year. So I am excited to be running with them. There was obviously a lot of deliberation and a lot of months of hard work leading up to this moment. But I'm very confident that we have the best candidates out there, and I'm just honored to be involved in this campaign as a whole.
Originally, I never saw myself speaking in front of you all. I never thought I had the courage or the capability of standing in front of a crowd and trying to lead this university. But I joined SGA. I got empowered by these great executives teaching me what I can do to fix this university and improve it. I worked alongside Jameson. We were speaking of how we can improve this upcoming semester. We got together, we started speaking about possibly running for executive team. I got chosen as the presidential nominee because of my leadership experience. But Jameson has been the chair of RNA. He knows the rules, he knows how to interpret them, and he knows how to come back from those negative aspects of being the chair of Rules and Administration. Florencio, he's always been a great mentor to me. I met him my freshman year. We relate a lot because we're both from border towns here in Texas. But he's been a great mentor. He was a first-generation college student himself. He's been through his bachelor's, master's, and now his doctorate. He's a great mentor to all of us, and it's a great inspiration to lead up to what he has been able to accomplish. And then Ashley, last but not least, Ashley. Ashley is so dedicated to improving this university. She went up to DC. She got that experience talking to legislators, speaking to different individuals that can help her in her future, but help her here at Texas Tech. Not turning back the bus routes, but improving them, making that number of 8 people getting run over every year to 0. Implementing healthier options here on campus by creating a bike system that can benefit us in the long run.
This is a really great question, honestly. And honestly, we're a group of students that love this university more than we care about ourselves, and we want to be able to serve that university. Now, to kind of brag about them as well, we have some very great candidates, and starting with Taylor, he has a huge background in parliamentary procedure and his leadership skills from being a state officer in FFA. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better internal vice president. And Peter, with his current involvement in SGA as the chief of staff, his vast amount of boards and things that he sits on that accurately represent this university, and he has a real voice in that. He's also passionate about this university and passionate about the Lubbock community as a whole. I mean, he's out there making a name for this university to truly serve this university and this Lubbock community that gives so much to us. And Pradeep, I mean, one of the greatest guys you've ever met. If anyone's met him, he's an excellent guy, one of the hardest working people I know. I mean, he constantly manages his time and makes things happen, and you would never understand how he does it. And his vast research experience, I mean, he's a great guy. And then myself, I work with administration daily. When we formed, we were just 4 students who were in President Select who really cared about this university, and we wanted to collaboratively think of different ways to improve this university. And after talking, we realized we had the experience where it counted in individual criteria areas, and we realized that we could really make a difference here when we came to office. We wanted to sit down to create goals that were actually obtainable in our term of office and collaborate to make a real positive difference here on this university. And I could not ask for better people to run with. I'm proud to have known you guys, and this is going to be a great experience.
Excellent. We have time for 2 more questions. Vivian, and then if you'd like, could you please form a line behind her for the sake of time and efficiency? Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, so after sitting through this forum, it's kind of been apparent that there is a lack of communication between SGA and RHA. For instance, RHA already has several initiatives in progress right now that candidates have mentioned that they would like to implement. So with that, as there's no liaison in place between the 2 organizations, how would you improve relations with RHA, which is the 2nd largest organization on campus, without infringing on RHA's power to advocate and legislate for their residents?
Because it's my turn, right? All right. So I've faced the same hurdles of having to communicate with different organizations. We don't want to overlap events, especially. We don't want to overlap the things you're striving for. We don't want to create a week and overlap the same week, the same views. We want to partner up with different organizations. We want to partner up with RHA. RHA houses all incoming freshmen and current students here at Texas Tech that choose to live on campus. They provide tutors to the current students there and create retention rate. Create that atmosphere where you can learn and stay here at Texas Tech. I want to be able to partner up with them, not just for different events, but get their feedback. Get their feedback how we can improve relations, but how can we improve student government? How can we improve how students come here at Texas Tech, live here at Texas Tech? How can we improve that safety to them, that involvement?
I mean, that's an absolute excellent point. I mean, there isn't a liaison right now to do that, and I think it's important that we accurately communicate with them to see with what's going on and et cetera. And as he said, there are tutoring programs in there. That's phenomenal. We need to be able to talk to these people so they can see what they need from us, that we can help them benefit, because these are where these freshman students are living their first year. I mean, if they're not getting everything that they want, they're going to possibly go, this place isn't for me. If we can improve that lifestyle, where they're probably going to spend half of their time here at Tech their freshman year because they're sleeping there, for goodness sakes, it's important that they love that place and it really feels like home. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I lived in Gates Hall. I absolutely loved Gates Hall. It was a huge experience for me, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think it's important that we hear their concerns of what they think we can improve for them, how we can serve them, and how we can better this university as a whole.
All right. Thank you for the question. RHA is huge and very important. I was another dorm person my freshman year, and I still eat every single day on campus. So I don't want by any means our Raider Bucks plan to diminish hospitality services production. I think we could set up a separate account for Raider Bucks. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but I would love to do that because I'm a big fan of eating on campus. It's extremely convenient, and I think our Dining Bucks plan is awesome. I wouldn't survive without it. So I would love to see any goals that we have in common work together. Keep in mind that I would work for the students, and so do they. Whatever the students would wish that we work on together, by all means, let's work together and use our combined forces to make that happen. So thanks.
Excellent. Hi. Could each candidate tell us what they have done thus far for the Student Government Association and how they plan to use this experience to lead the student body?
I think this is a great question, honestly, and I think that's where I come from, a completely unique perspective. I'm coming from an outside SGA experience necessarily, but then you have to ask yourself, what does the student body president do? Well, he's there to serve the students and voice their opinions to administration, and that's exactly where I have the experience where it counts. Now, over the last 49 sessions, it's never been a rule for the student body president to have previous SGA experience, and that's because, I would think they would change something if that were to be the case. Our job is to be a visionary, to encourage students, to inspire them, and to create goals that we can actually accomplish in our term of office.
Thank you for the question. While it is not a requirement to have previous SGA experience or serve the student government in any official title, I do think it is an advantage nonetheless. I have sat on special committees such as this year, the Reapportionment Committee, and gotten knee-deep in legislation, how the Constitution works, how regular U.S. law works, how we dictate where seats go in our Senate. These are hurdles that have to be jumped before you can really accomplish anything. You have to make sure that you know where you're coming from. I do look forward to working with administration, but I want to keep in mind that I work for the students first off. And with a Senate behind me doing that, I think we can accomplish anything that the students ask of us, and I think the administration will listen to a student government that is proactively acting on the concerns of the students that we've seen this past year.
Sorry. I am proud to say that I have empowered students to join SGA. This year we saw a huge amount of students from First Student Government under their respective colleges. But I've empowered the students, the regular student that's not involved in big organizations. I've empowered them to put their name forward, put their foot forward to lead Student Government Association. As I told you, I wasn't projected to win my Senate seat last year. But I came in full-heartedly happy, am proud because I know that I am able to change student government. I am able to lead different students. But I'm also proud because with our current internal VP's idea of mobile offices, we have expanded that. I am proud to say that I have partnered up with the College of Arts and Sciences, the largest college here at Texas Tech, to create an event for all of the students here, all the arts and sciences students. Food. We'll be able to interact with the current interim dean, Dean Williams, current administration, and those advisors. If you have questions, advising is already starting up for next summer, for the fall. Those students will be empowered to see what student government does. They'll be empowered to get the tools needed, interact with the executive team of SGA as well as their senators. I'm also proud to say that through diversity, we've been able to hold different events, been able to empower the diverse student organizations, not just get funding, but get that information. Get that information that Texas Tech is here to help them. That student government is their gateway to improving overall what they want to do here at Texas Tech.
Would you guys be willing to take one more question?
Yes.
Sure. Please hurry, KTXT gets upset. We have lapses in time.
You guys mentioned taking dining bucks off of campus and you can use them at multiple restaurants. I read in the Daily TOREADOR that that would never happen. And so could you kind of elaborate on how y'all would make that happen? And then if a lot of the restaurants off campus that serve alcohol, we'd still be able to use our dining bucks at the restaurants that serve alcohol or not?
Good question. I think it's inevitable that we'd have to answer this question. I think it's fair. Well, I'd say first off, the Daily TOREADOR is being a little harsh. I think that with a group of students as powerful as the Student Government Association, and with an executive branch that is unified and pushing for something, the sky's the limit. And I have been working on this project alongside some fellow senators for a long time. There's been a lot of talk about this coming to Texas Tech. We're excited to bring it. But as far as the alcohol situation, obviously you don't want students swiping their dining bucks cards to get beer. So we would not have that happen. There are plenty of restaurants who don't offer alcohol. Raising Cane's comes to mind, and it's very close to campus. We'd have to work something like that out. But as far as this not being a possibility, the naysayers aren't doing us any good. We're really excited, and I think that whoever wins, this is going to be something that happens for the students.
I actually would have to disagree. I believe the Daily TOREADOR has been a great aspect of what we do here at Texas Tech, especially since they sit in our Senate meetings, and they clearly state what's happening here at Texas Tech. I've been part of, through SGA, I was selected to be on the ID fee committee. That's a committee that oversees the fees that each student is charged for their ID. I have been able to work with administrators because we've been talking for it since last semester. I actually co-wrote a congratulatory resolution congratulating those administrators that have already been proactively working on getting Raider Card, which is your ID has different accounts. Raider Card is the account that would be used off campus. It'll be basically a debit card. Dining bucks is property of hospitality services. Students use their dining bucks. Only freshman students use dining bucks. The other account is community dining plan. So the students already pay a fee to hospitality service to keep themselves running, to keep them running, and that's how they get discounts for hospitality services. So basically, administration has been working with a projected launch of the fall to have that Raider Card actually be used off campus already. That Raider Card won't be used at establishments that sell alcohol, which pretty much eliminates all but probably 3 restaurants across university. We want to keep Raider Card available to students if they choose to use Raider Card, but essentially Raider Card will be a separate debit account through your ID. And Dining Bucks is basically saying, Dining Bucks is you buying a gift card to McDonald's and trying to use it at Whataburger, Burger King. You already paid that fee. It's already been paid to McDonald's to use that gift card there. So administration has been listening to student government because it's been brought up over the past years. I've talked to the office. I've been part of this committee. So essentially, Raider Card will be a debit account put onto your account.
All right, that is a really good question, but I'm going to have to strongly disagree as well. You know, I've been proactively working with administration, and like I said, it's not going to be easy, but it is possible. You know, we have a lot of advantages here at Tech. You know, our Raider card system is based on a dollar amount, which is hugely beneficial to us as the students. And with a new chancellor coming in, and we currently have a new president, they're going to want to do big things here to make a big difference here to get some of those competitors and make a name for themselves as well as the whole student body. And I think that it's really going to be a big push for them. You know, a lot of our competitors, UT with Bevo Bucks, Baylor with Baylor Bucks, Aggie with Aggie Bucks, you know, they're all able to use these dining cards or a portion of it at certain restaurants around campus, you know, and I think it's extremely possible here. And as a finance major, I realize that this is a numbers game, and it's very important that we do not hurt hospitality services and we do not hurt this university, but we mutually beneficial relationship with all parties to help everyone increase student enrollment, increase students' happiness here. I mean, that's a huge thing. I can't tell you, I also eat on campus almost every day, working in the administration building, running to the sub. And I would love the option every now and then to be able to eat off campus and benefit both sides of the Lubbock community and this university, and I think it is going to happen regardless. You know, this is a big thing right now, and a lot of students want to see this happen. When we've been saying that, I cannot tell you how many groups have nodded their heads and like praise, you know, that's what we want. These students want this. It's going to happen. I'm fairly certain about it.
No disrespect to the Daily TOREADOR, by the way. I'm very happy of all the support they've given us throughout the campaign. So,
excellent. Please give these candidates a round of applause. Very confident that these gentlemen are going to have a great career as leaders. It takes a lot of something to stand up here and get grilled by you guys. Have a great evening, and make sure you vote tomorrow. Also, do not break the election code.
You've been watching the SGA Executive Candidates Forum. You'll be looking live right now, actually, at room 353 in the College of Media and Communication. The forum featured candidates for the internal vice president, external vice president, graduate vice president, as well as the president position in the Student Government Association. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kathy McPhee. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's forum and the live coverage we've been brought to you by the Hub at TTU. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Lauren Esteban with some post-interviews with the candidates. We'll be right back.
They do a 5-minute break.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
In SGA for the past 4 years of your life. You probably know a lot of the candidates. Do you know a lot of them?
I guess I know about 2/3 of them.
Okay. So did you come in with any like intentions of who you're going to vote for beforehand?
I've seen a lot of their platforms on social media and everything, so I did kind of have an understanding, but I think this really helped to learn more about what they're actually, I mean, they can walk the walk and they talk the talk and they walk the walk.
Right. So who are you going to vote for?
Oh, that's, I don't know.
Did the debate change your mind?
It's swaying me a little bit. I was surprised by some of the answers, and I was some of the candidates really made some good points, and I think that the questions asked from the audience were really important, and because those are students asking questions, and we want to know some answers, and accountability is really important for me.
Right. Well, thanks so much, Taylor. Lauren, back over to you.
Thanks, Evan. I'm here with Mark Kahn. Mark, what did you think of the forum tonight?
I thought it was a great opportunity for the executive candidates to kind of showcase what they're all about. I'm personally with the Connect Tech campaign, and it was really great to see my guys go out there and kind of show the other team what we have, and all the other candidates seeing what truly their platforms are and how they kind of reacted to other people asking what they were all about.
So you're sure going to vote for them later this week?
Absolutely. I'm actually the chief of staff candidate for Connect Tech.
Oh, so you can't not vote for them. Well, thank you all for watching, and Catherine, back to you.
Thanks, Lauren and Evan. It has definitely been a very busy night. Well, that's going to finish it up for us here. And on behalf of the Hub at TTU, we want to thank our volunteers, faculty, and staff who've helped make this possible. Also, thanks to the Student Government Association for all their cooperation. And a special thanks to the College of Media and Communication. Their support has been truly incredible. Thanks again for joining us tonight, and remember that you can find much more information regarding the SGA elections on our website, ttuhub.net. For the Hub, I'm Catherine McBee. Have a great night.